game shall I play today?
Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people. I'm Caddicarus, and I decide which games get slaughtered or salvaged. And what happens when a YouTube game reviewer finally has a chance to move out of his parents' house and then spends weeks upon weeks buying everything that he needs to do that, as well as moving absolutely everything that he owns into this new place, only to then discover that there isn't any internet access activated in this place, which means he can't make a video for about a week and a half because he came back home from Texas and he was at SGC enjoying one of the best weekends of his life with the rest of Hidden Block and Normal Boots, and then returns home to find out that internet access will be a little bit later than anticipated, which means he has about 3 or 4 days to make a video, and then decides he's going to make a video based on a game that a fan gave to him at SGC? You get this video on Putty Squad. Fuck you and let's play the game.
I have a question for you all today. Which video games in the world right now allow you to blow up robots, cats, birds and mosquitoes at the same time while you control a blue gob of snot wearing a fake mustache complete with glasses? The answer is none. Except for motherfucking Putty Squad on PS4. Putty Squad 4. This was a game released on said console in November 2013 and was developed by a company called System 3. Apparently it was their birthday or some shit. And this company also seemed to apply the mid-80s UK game developing company naming theory, which was to take any English word in the world and then stick a number on the end of it. You know, like Team 17.
Or even socks 2. I got 2 socks.
Anyway, the person that gave this to me at SGC, and I'm so sorry I didn't catch a name, my mind was a little bit, well, fucked for that whole weekend, said that it looked absolutely awful, but I'm sure he was just over-exaggerating a little bit.
Ooh!
Okay, yeah, what the hell am I even looking at right now? I'm still trying to take this all in and I just cut, what? Whoa, the drummer definitely just took his vitamins for the day. And there's also... teeth. And a chicken.
I'm starting to feel a little bit violated right now, so let's just kick straight off into the game, shall we?
Yep, this is it. 8th generation console gaming, folks.
This is PS4!
I suppose you're wondering what in God's name you do in this game, so allow me to fill you in. You are this blue thing, and you need to, as the game puts it, absorb these red things. Find them all in every stage and beat the game. That's it. How you do this, however, is with bad controls. Attacking is very snappy and it's passable, but everything else that you do has 0 rhythm behind it. You have 1 speed of walking movement without gaining momentum or gradual stopping, and incredibly stiff and horrible jumping. This is a platformer. And the platforming is horrible. Oops. But I guess it doesn't really matter too much since, well, look at this fucking mess. If you expect greatness from something that looks like this, then please send me your address, and then I'll send you a referral straight from my doctor because I'm a little bit worried about you. And hey, this all sounds simple, but trust me, you will need this tutorial. Need it. You have so many fucking moves you can pull off which are admittedly kind of cool, and so many power-ups to grab and use. However, while in most other games, all of those power-ups would be fucking awesome, in this game, no power-up that you grab actually makes the game any easier, harder, or more fun. They only exist for more things to learn, more things to cluster up the HUD, and more things for you to trial and error, and each power-up is more pointless and confusing than the last. Not to mention, because of all this stuff to play with, this tutorial is also long. Very long. Oh boy, is it long. Longer than long great Auntie Maple's long finger. Also, I think I found the most terrifying still image in history directly from this game, and something tells me that you'll agree with me on that. Any second now. Ah, yes, of course. They give us all of these power-ups to absorb into our putty little hero, and yet none of them seem to work. How miraculous. And by that I mean it's shit. I mean, half the time, even the basic attack doesn't work. Also, the game tells us that we have a map reading mechanic for every stage. Trust me, you're gonna fucking need this because every level is really badly designed. I honestly think that this is an Amiga-era video game trope because I can compare this perfectly with the bullshit that I hate in Super Frog. Every level is either built like an unfair maze, a prison full of escaped convicts, a supermarket full of things to collect, or any other metaphors that basically mean something that doesn't work very well. I mean, look at this clusterfuck over here. This isn't fun. I can't even tell what wants to attack me right now. But hey, even if I can't tell what's trying to hurt me within the game, at least it's managing to hurt my eyes in real life.
Why is this spring here? What is it doing? What's its purpose in life? Why can't I understand you, Spring?
What can I jump on here? What can you interact with, and what's just part of the background? Never explain. Just in case you forgot, may I remind you...
This is PS4!
Ooh. Putty Squad, you saucy little minx.
What are the power-ups here? What is my health? What is anything? Is there any indication into what I'm actually sucking up before I actually suck them up? No? Okay, fine. I wonder what's up here. Oh, look, it's a carrot with sunglasses and revolvers trying to...
What? What am I looking at?
Okay, in all seriousness, you know I mentioned earlier that this whole game's design was very much like a kind of Amiga era trope? Well, that's because I'm not far off, actually. This game was birthed from the Amiga. This is an Amiga series. And it hasn't changed or adapted or improved for this generation of consoles. So, the question is, how the fuck did it end up here?
Well, for a very late and very brief history lesson, this game I'm playing right now is actually a sequel to a game simply called Putty for the Amiga and Super Nintendo. Due to that game's surprising success, System 3 fully completed this sequel for the Super Nintendo, Amiga, Sega Mega Drive, and MS-DOS, ready to be gone and released in 1994. Where the Super Nintendo version did release, as for the Amiga, demos were made available to the public, marketing was high all over the place, hell, even review copies were sent off for magazines and even published for readers to see. And what do you know, the review scores were high. I'm talking 9 out of 10s kind of high, everywhere. Believe me, I'm honestly stunned with how much this has dated since then. But then, for some strange reason, the Sega and MS-DOS ports were lost, and the Amiga version, which was what the game was developed for in the first place, was never actually released until December 2013, which is when System 3 released it as a Christmas present on their website. This means that this PS4 remade version that I am playing right now actually came out before the original even came out.
But as mind-blowing as that story is, that makes things worse. This game came out 20 years late, and it isn't fucking welcome in my house.
I mean, this was a game that was originally meant to run on 2 megabytes of RAM, and the PS4 version doesn't even fucking work properly. Welcome to the 8th generation of electronic entertainment, folks, this is PS4! Ah, yes, stickers, a gamer's best friend. I know, really. You find them all over the place in the levels, and they have super written on them like it's the best fucking thing ever. I mean, what is this, a kid's game? Oh yeah, it might be.
Marathon mode unlocked.
Is that you?
Eurocom Entertainment Software.
Crash 'em, bash 'em?
Basically, I'm sick of this game. Nothing you do is satisfying, nothing you attack is fun, nothing you pick up is enjoyable, nothing is anything, everything is nothing. I'm still trying to get my head around this being made for the PlayStation 4 and—
How could you do this to me? To whoever gave me this game, I came 4,000 miles across the world to share my love and appreciation with all of you, face to face. And this is how you repay me?
Well, at least this game does have some rather kick-ass music for what it is. It doesn't fit the mood of, blue snot whatsoever, but it's still pretty epic. And then you get rewarded with points that nobody cares about anymore in a single-player campaign for every ant that you fucking stepped on.
Now you may say that I'm being a little bit too harsh with this game because all of the footage you've been seeing, it's only been from about 3 or 4 levels of the game. But honestly, I looked it up, and you should too. It's the same throughout the whole thing. I mean, just give me some credit. If you were in my position, would you keep playing this? Do you think it's gonna get any better? Do you want to keep doing this? For this many levels? Who would do this? Who? You know, maybe I am being a little bit too harsh. Oh, come on. I'll play ball. I'll give it a few more levels. Come on, let's keep going. Okay, so what's the next level called? Jungles of Squirt. Okay, well maybe I'll pick another level that isn't better suited to a brother's motion picture. Okay, how about Watchtower of Squirt? Well, that game got the slaughter. If you couldn't tell. Now I don't know how to end this video. When I go to my bedroom. Fucking moosey pillock wanker. Oh, jeez. Oh, he angers me. Oh, God. He angers me so much. I need something to eat. What? How did this get in here? Oh, I
James, I hate you.
This is from Ian, isn't it? Is there any more to this? Yes, there is.
Okay, seriously, I need to teach you a lesson you'll never forget. So within this letter, I've written down a very special download code. This very special code is for a very special game, and it's a game that you will play and review no matter what you try to say or do to avoid it.
Oh, come on! How could he possibly get me to play this game? He lives over 4,000 miles away from me.
Also, I know that you have a new house, so I've taken away all of your stuff from your old room before you had a chance to move it. You will get everything back the second you finish reviewing this game.
Okay, that's just stupid. How could he have possibly... Well, shit.
Don't you see? I have all of your stuff, and until you play this game and I get my revenge, it's not going anywhere.
Okay. Wait. How the fuck did he know that I was going to stop reading his letter at his last sentence before this one, to then come all the way back to my house to check that he'd taken all of my stuff, despite how impossibly ridiculous that is?
Because I know you. I watch your every move, James. I know everything about you.
Again, and how did he know I was going to say that?
I am God.
I'm having a conversation with a letter, aren't I?
Yes, yes you are. A letter from God.
Okay, yeah, this is getting really fucking weird. I'm just gonna go home and talk to him. So, it's come to this, has it? Our paths have to cross yet again in such heinous circumstances.
Well, if you want your stuff back, you will play that game and talk about it.
I'm sorry, that's just too much to ask from me. I'm gonna need a little more personal gain from it.
Oh, come on. I want to see you play it. I don't even want your stuff. I got my own stuff.
Okay, fine. Here's the deal. I will go through and review this game only if you do it with me.
Okay, dude, that is a big ask. I mean, this game's badness is in, like, a totally different fucking league. This game is bad. I'm serious.
That's a big ask, is it? Well, you know something? I'm a big man.
I'm taller than you.
And you know what I think? I don't actually think you are a big enough man to tackle this game.
Hey, no one insults my manliness and gets away with it.
But I thought that asking you to play this was a big ask.
Of course it isn't. I was just bluffing.
So what are you gonna do, Moosey?
I'm gonna play this game with you. And also, I'm gonna fucking kill you for calling me Moosey.
That's the Ian that I know and love.
Wait a minute. Did you just get me to review this game with you?
Yep.
God damn it. Fucking psychology bullshit.
Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not a game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged.
And I'm Brutal Moose. I'm also on YouTube, sometimes.
No one cares.
Well, you know what? You're about to play the zoo race, so I wouldn't be laughing so much if I was you.
Well, The zoo race?
Yeah, the zoo race.
Ian, that doesn't actually sound too bad.
Oh, James, you're so naive. So naive and stupid.
Hey, back off, you cock.
I don't have to back off, dude. You're the one who says the zoo race doesn't sound so bad.
But it doesn't.
Oh man, I can't wait to see your face. You're gonna fucking hate me for this.
I already fucking hate you.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's fair enough. Anyway, you better go ahead and download that game if you want any of your stuff back.
Okay. Done and done. By the way, don't ever tell me what to do ever again.
Oh, come on. After your Stanley Parable review, everyone flocked to mine thanking me for making it because yours was so shitty. I can tell you to do whatever the fuck I want.
You said you would never mention the Stanley Parable incident.
Well, I'm just gonna keep talking about it till you start the game up.
Okay, fine. Look, I'm doing it. Look, I'm doing it. Bollocks face.
Dickweed.
So immediately, the first thing that catches my attention is what the desktop icon is. What is this even supposed to be exactly? What has this got to do with the zoo? or racing?
Oh, come on, James. It's obvious. It's an X, which stands for the zoo race.
And what fills me with even more confidence is the website that this game came from. I have no words whatsoever.
Well, a few words definitely came to my mind, like these four, for example. What is this shit?
I can tell you right now, the only thing missing from this distinguished website is Comic Sans, Cougar Interactive,
You disappoint me.
and also the top of the site demands that you find the creature living in you. But I must say that if that creature inside me looks anything like this bear over here, then I would rather die.
Okay, I'm actually starting to feel a little bit bad for making you download this.
Oh, don't worry, I think we'll be okay, because this game does have some awards, believe it or not, and they're all awards about how clean the game is. Guys, newsflash, just because your game has no viruses in it doesn't mean it deserves merit. That's like getting a medal every time you wash your hands after taking a shit. Oh, and before we continue any further, I'm afraid, Ian, that this is another Bible game.
Wait, really? You're gonna make me go through with this after what I endured with Captain Bible? James, I hate
You were the one that gave me this game.
you. Oh yeah.
And before we boot this thing up properly, I think it's worth noting that when I downloaded this, I was the 109th customer for the full retail version of this. That means that for every $1.99 that this game sells for per person, including me, this game has made a total of $216.91 in profit. Amazing. Anyway, let's boot this shit up. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I've been doing this show for nearly 2 years now, and I can tell you that out of everything I've ever seen and played while making the show, I have never had so many questions about what I'm looking at other than right this second. However, just by looking at the way that these people are walking up here leads me to the conclusion that there will be no answers for anything I ask.
Yeah, speaking of which, I actually happen to have a legitimate question right now. And that is, what in the holy name of Bob Saget has this got to do with the Bible?
Well, Moosey, if we have a look at the story, maybe we'll get some answers.
Oh, of course. This has animals in it, so it's about Noah's Ark. Duh.
Hi, Ruben. May I ask, what book are you reading?
Oh, hi, Hannah. Yes, it's a book about Noah's Ark.
Oh, it's gonna be one of those days, isn't it?
I mean, this is kind of impossible to critique. All of you at home can see and hear everything that is wrong with what is going on right now. What's the point of even talking about it?
Well, if you won't say anything, then I will. Something a bit weird about this is the way that the intro cutscene is compressed. For some reason, the rest of the game runs at a higher quality, and this is the only part of the game that decides it's just too much to handle and restricts it from looking any nicer.
And hey, do you know what else is weird about this? Everything else. Most notably, the story. This guy is called Ruben, and he's an enthusiastic Christian.
No, Hannah. I like books about animals.
And this girl is called Hannah, who thinks,
You need to get a brain, Ruben.
I really have to say that despite the strong Christian values of the game devs plastered on their website, and the fact that this is a Bible game in itself, I don't understand why the Bible is mocked constantly throughout this whole intro.
Yeah, I mean, all this intro does is portray people who believe in the Bible as childish idiots. And in Bible Game Making 101, that's like the golden rule. That's the one rule you do not break. And I swear that for most of this cutscenes, it seems like the voice actors just forgot how to speak like humans.
Yes, Hannah. Yes, Hannah. Yes, Hannah. Yes, Hannah.
So what we're getting out of this is that after the great storm hit Earth and Noah built his ark to save the creatures, he apparently used to celebrate how great he did by forcing all of his animal friends to race in deathly obstacle courses. But of course, Hannah thinks that's completely absurd and asks,
And who would actually start and announce such a race? Would it be God himself, maybe? Yeah, right.
Oh man, wouldn't that be funny? God's the narrator in the game, isn't he?
Of course, for suggesting something so ridiculous, Ruben finds that very offensive.
Are you saying that the great God who made the earth cannot do something?
And then he decides to...
Come on, Hannah. Let's race.
Wait, what the fuck?
You and me, let's race. Let's have some fun.
He turns so quickly. I honestly don't even know what to say to that. Oh yeah, and after that, this happens.
What? What? Can we please have that again? That is never going to get old. One more time.
I don't feel like I can race, and I don't feel very well. Ugh.
Oh, well, that escalated quickly.
And you, Reuben? You're a rhinoceros!
And that is where it ends. It just stops. On that note, right there, Rhino goes, and it stops. I don't want to play this.
But I'm afraid, James, you must. And it's not all that bad. I mean, we've got 8 different racers to pick, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. And they all have neat little nicknames like the Adventurer, the Viking, the Warrior, and Lovely. Yeah, I think we should pick her.
And we also have 8 different tracks, so it's pretty standard stuff so far. I've got to say that Bethany's Blaster definitely seems like the most fun, so let's go ahead with that. Okay, we're all lined up and ready to race, so let's get ready, set, and go! Oh, wait, what? Oh, off they go, but I can't move. Oh, shit. I'm pressing all the goddamn keys that I can and nothing is working. Oh, it's an arrow button game. Great! So as you could probably guess, this game involves racing. There are 3 other competitors to race against. You have to pick up food for speed boosts, and you have to click the mouse, I'll say that again, click the mouse to jump and avoid obstacles. And these obstacles can be anything from barriers, fish,
God himself!
and poop. Just poop. I swear to God, I didn't add that text in there. It's been especially labeled, and it's the only thing in this game that has a label. Poop. Should have called the game the Poo Race. Hey?
James, please, just shut the fuck up. Anyway, that's kind of it as far as mechanics go. You simply run around unfinished and ugly as all hell textured environments. Oh yeah, and there's water to swim through as well, but the controller body physics never change, so what's the point? I don't know. And I know it sounds simple, but these controls are unbearable. You see what I did there? As we discovered earlier, you use the arrow keys to run and you click to jump, and that's it. But for some reason, the developers made it near impossible to actually do anything. Using the arrow keys to turn proves to be one of the most sensitive and over-responsive controls I've used since Lego Island 1. Luckily, you can also use the mouse to turn as well as look around. So in essence, you find yourself switching between both the mouse and the arrow keys constantly to turn every corner depending on the angle of each of them. Good stuff.
Also, after messing around with the mouse, I also found a glitch in the controls allowing me to constantly speed boost. By holding the right click down, you can turn the game into a hilarious fucking mess. Combine that with the arrow key turning circles and you have probably the funniest running animations that gaming animals have to offer. Not to mention, it also makes swimming incredible. This game is just simply broken. Actually, it never looks like it was fixed in the first place, so broken isn't even the correct word. But it is. That. It's broken. It's just as broken as this vase over here. Oh wait, the vase isn't broken? Oh, damn it, okay. Just give me a second here. Come on, I'm gonna get it and... Boop. Broken. I mean, I honestly can't even believe what I'm looking at. What?
Okay, surely this couldn't get any worse. Oh wait, it just did.
Okay, well now I know what I'm doing with the controls. I'll start this race properly this time.
Ready, set.
And why do we have to listen to the most mundane and badly constructed Christian rock anthems as we race along? The instruments aren't even real. They're MIDI samples that could have been made on Guitar Pro 5, and yet they are still out of time. How?
Little creation, come and praise the Lord.
And speaking of the songs, the sound effects just exist whenever they feel like it. This is exquisite. And speaking of the sound in general, yes, God is the announcer. And he either sounds really fucking bored or too much like Ben Stein.
At the start, it's Kane the Cougar.
And those visuals, holy hell. I don't even need to explain them. Look at them. It's Pooh. Because this is the Poo Race.
God damn it, James! I swear to Christ that I will end you if you make that joke again.
Ian, please, no blaspheming in the presence of this biblical game. But besides, that's what this game is. It's a lumpy turd. And what more could you expect from a gaming company that can't even spell melon properly?
Well, to be fair, I would have at least expected that this Bible-themed racing game wouldn't have included World War planes bombing racing animals on a steel and concrete bridge dotted with hamburgers. I mean, is this supposed to be a parody parody of the Bible? Out of everything we've seen so far, it hasn't used any serious Bible content whatsoever, so it really seems like it could be.
And I also have another question. Why would Noah's followers be rolling barrels of nuclear waste at the animals? What, was God drunk when he came up with that?
Now I must warn you that a great storm is approaching that will flood the land, and you must gather 2 of each animal in order to restore life to the world after the flood has come. Oh, and after you do that, get some fireworks and a few planes, some hamburgers, and barrels of nuclear waste, and then bomb them all.
Oh, and whenever you win a race, this happens.
It was 9:30 or 9:45, something, then it started again.
Okay, I'm done.
Oh, come on, James. There has to be something else we can talk about.
No.
What? Nothing? Anything at all? We've got nothing more to cover. Can you even believe this exists?
I mean, in all seriousness, this has been the hardest thing for me to script in my life. Everything terrible in this game deserves no explanation. You can just see how shite everything is. It doesn't even teach Bible stuff. All of the verses used in the game have zero relevance to what is actually going on, or they just look like they were thrown together on a PowerPoint slide. And it also doesn't help that this is one of the glitchiest things I've ever witnessed in my life. I mean, can you even make out what's going on here? Because I sure can't.
And so, because of how atrocious this whole package is, we've decided to make a little montage of our favorite glitch moments. You can judge them for yourself, because we give up.
Kane the Cougar. By Hannah the Horse.
There's still one thing that's been left unanswered, though.
Oh yeah? What's that?
What is Creature Party?
I don't know. Are you sure you want to do this? There's more Bible songs to pick.
Oh, fuck. Now I'm curious.
Let all creation
Ian, hold me.
come and praise the Lord.
Oh my god. This is hell, isn't it?
You aren't fucking far off.
The animals just kinda do this, and while that crazy bollocks is happening, all that Noah does is stand there like the observer. He's a criminal mastermind in this part. He does nothing, and he's really creeping me out. Maybe I should try clicking on him. Okay, no, don't ever click on Noah.
And with that, this game gets the slaughter. There was no game box. I uninstalled it. It was the only thing I could do. I know it's not as violent as I usually go, but there you go. You get the idea.
Yeah, I really do agree with you. This game just defies all logic and—
Moose, you're a fucking jerk.
What?
You heard me, Ian, you miserable, slimy git. Why did you make me play this? Why? You're a jerk.
No, you're the jerk. Making me sit through this game that I gave to you because I took all of your stuff. Who's the real jerk here, Adolf?
Okay, you know what? You are such a jerk that I'm gonna come all the way to America to tell you in person how much of a fucking jerk you are.
Okay then.
Fine!
Great!
I'm coming!
You know what? Bring it on!
Right!
Ian! You're a fucking jerk.
Okay, I'm eating.
I don't give a shit, you're a jerk.
Can I finish my meal? We'll talk about this later.
Well, that didn't work.
So what are you gonna do now, Mr. Big Shot?
I'm gonna get my revenge. Just you wait. You have insulted me, and threatened me, and humiliated me for long enough now. And you know what? By sending me this game, taking all of my belongings and then forcing me to play through this horrendous piece of shit has pushed the line. I'm going to fucking end you.
But what are you gonna do?
Just you wait. I promise. I will get...
Yeah, no, don't really feel like waiting. I'm gonna go, do something, anything really, rather than sit around and wait. So, yeah.
Okay, that does it. Okay, any second now, I should appear on Moose's computer screen. Come on, let's hope this works. Did it work? Did it work? Oh, yes. Yes! Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not a game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged. Now, out of everybody in this room right now, who remembers the Sony PlayStation? Ah, yes, good, fantastic, all of you guys, okay, great. Now, out of the Sony PlayStation people, who remembers the classic mascots for it? Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, Rayman, Abe from Oddworld, Parappa the Rapper, Mr. Domino? Ah, yes, of course. No one fucking remembers him.
This game is weird. This game is weird. This game is really bloody weird. I know on the surface it just seems like your average puzzle game involving dominoes, but if you just simmer down for one goddamn second and take a step back, you'll see that this game has Japan in it. Oh yes, this is gonna be a ball. A big, bouncy, rambunctious boom. As the front of the box proudly states, no one can stop Mr. Domino. This was a game made by a Japanese company called Art Dick, and they are a company that are actually pretty famous elsewhere for making all of these fucking games. Wow. These guys have made more games than I have washed. No One Can Stop Mr. Domino was one of those forgotten PS1 games that seemed to have a lot of hype and attention close to its release, but then unfortunately just kind of vanished into obscurity forever. Games like Kuroshi, Cooler World, Tombi, you know, those kinds of games. I mean, I can testify to that. When I first ever played this game, it was on this official UK PlayStation Magazine demo disc right here. And oh man, for anyone out there that grew up with these things, then please allow me to get your nostalgia neurons throbbing with this particular song. The demo of Mr. Domino countless times as a kid, but I never actually got anywhere with it, and I never beat it. I just remember it being a confusing and frustrating, well, mess. With walking dominoes. This is really stupid, isn't it? But now that I'm a fully grown and rather hairy adult, I think it's about time that I retried this forgotten gem for old time's sake and give it a second chance.
So, Mr. Domino, let's see what effect you leave on me. Domino effect. It's a domino!
Now here's a pretty exciting cutscene. It's one of those Japanese game cutscenes like in Klonoa that explains absolutely nothing whatsoever and just shows you a load of flashing pictures in order to get you interested. And I actually think that it's worth mentioning that. Anyway, we start up the game and we are immediately given the chance to pick between two anthropomorphic dominoes.
Did I really just say that out loud?
And, I think I'll go with Mr. Domino, purely because, well, the box says that no one can stop Mr. Domino, so if I pick him, I'll be unstoppable and he should make everything really fucking easy.
The game lied to me.
Holy shit, I'm serious. No one can stop Mr. Domino. More like everything can stop Mr. Domino. This game is a barrel of lies. Okay, wait. What am I doing? Why can't I stop? Why do I need to hurry up? Hurry up what? Where's the time limit? I see no time limit. Game, I'm starting to have enough of your shit. Oh, game over. Okay, before I slag this game off, I'm actually gonna find out what it is you have to do. And, funnily enough, the only way to learn how this game works is by reading the manual. Yeah, there's no tutorial or in-game hints, difficulty settings, or pretty much anything within the game to help you out here. This is one of those few extremely obscure puzzle games that literally tells you to press start and figure everything out. I mean, with stuff like Tetris, it's pretty fucking obvious what you do. You've only got 2 buttons and you move around and it's pretty easy because you just press buttons and then it makes all sense. But then look at all this crud on the screen here. I can't work this out. Kind of a dick move there. Japan. And not only are the how to play aspects completely void from this puzzle game, but also pretty much anything else. This is a raw kind of game. Just like the lack of explanation to what you're doing, there's no stage select, 1 action button, 5 lives before the game is over. I mean, it may sound extremely simple, but then the second you hit that start button, this game makes you its bitch. In more ways than one. When it wants to, this can be a hard game.
But none of this means anything unless everyone knows what's going on. So what's going on? This is going on.
If you thought that from the title of No One Can Stop Mr. Domino that you'd be taking part in a Godzilla simulator with a giant walking domino piece screaming, "No one can stop Mr. Domino!" I'm afraid you're wrong. Instead, the game is actually an on-rail puzzle game.
Did I really just say that out loud?
That does involve a fair amount of skill. By moving left, right, speeding up, slowing down, and pressing and holding 1 action button, the main objective is to run around an infinitely lapping stage while avoiding any and all obstacles, grabbing power-ups, and dropping out a limited amount of your own dominoes, which would be kind of like shitting out own versions of yourself. And then every time you lap the stage, you have to knock over the dominoes that you placed in the last lap and make sure they fall on respective trick tiles. These trick tiles are these 3D buttons that flash in every stage, and whenever you activate one by knocking a domino onto it, something like this happens. Or this. Or this. Or even this. Did I mention this was Japanese? Anyway, another thing to note is that these rippled flashing tiles indicate where an object will fall after you hit the trick tile before it, meaning that if you place a row of dominoes onto a trick tile and then start another row of dominoes at the rippled flashing tile, you can create a massive chain of incredible house-destroying domino toppling. Essentially, if you're really good, this means you can beat every stage with 1 clean line of dominoes that you knock over on your second lap. And let me tell you, it's insanely fucking satisfying to do that. But no more satisfaction for you. Yeah, are those normal, regular dominoes just far too stale for you? Yeah, is this boring to you? Because if it is, then this game was made for you. Also, it means you're a c***. Anyway, I can imagine that this may sound a little too easy, so the developers made it important to add in all of these fucking distractions and moving obstacles to either slow you down or completely kill an amazing chain of dominoes you had going. And yes, they are very fucking difficult to avoid because, well, A, you can't stop moving, B, you can't jump, and C, this control can be wank sometimes, but not all the time. I mean, it's not awful by any means, but it has this weird delay to it which proves to be difficult to grasp when you're turning a corner in the 3D space. So that means you sometimes have little idea where your trajectory is headed, and by the time you know notice where you're walking, the control delay doesn't let you correct the mistake in time. And then once you get your head around that, you need to learn about the power-ups and de-power-ups, as I call them. You see, even though you can infinitely lap the course as much as you want, you have a time limit. Well, actually, a stamina meter. A stamina meter that isn't shown on screen, but rather on the color of your domino. The darker shade your domino gets, the more the game tells you to hurry up. And so before you run out of stamina, you need to hit one of these health tiles to bring you back to peak physical domino condition once again. But here's the catch. Once you've stood on that particular health tile, that's it. It becomes unusable for the rest of the stage unless you restart it. So because of the one-time use to the few of them that are scattered in each level, this means that you must avoid the slowing down tiles, which massively waste your time. And even though you get some lovely speed with the speed boost tiles, it makes accurately placing dominoes or avoiding a health tile that you don't want to waste near fucking impossible. But very handy if you need to move quickly because you're low on stamina or you want to finish a lap and knock your dominoes over before you run out of health. Every stage adds in new hazards, challenges, things to remember, different angles to place your dominoes, and it's all very exciting and addicting, which is made even more addicting by a very catchy soundtrack and a really nice Japanesey kind of Katamari sort of styled visual appeal. It does look really nice and smooth for the PS1, especially for 1998. And overall, this game is surprisingly strategic and it gets extremely fucking challenging as it goes on.
Now this is, in my opinion, a fucking excellent idea for a puzzle game, and one that has a lot of potential to actually come back for newer consoles today. I'd love to see this idea come back. But then we get the fucking restart tiles.
Now, I mentioned earlier that despite only needing to avoid certain tiles and obstacles, making sure your domino doesn't run out of breath, and pressing or holding an action button to place the dominoes, this game gets fucking unforgiving. You will die a lot, I can guarantee it, especially if you've never played through a new stage. But alas, as I just said, this brings me on to the restart tiles. These bastards are sprinkled all over the levels and are probably one of the most annoying and cheap additions to difficulty I have ever seen in a video game. So get this, whenever you hit one of these tiles, everything resets.
Okay, neat!
Sounds like an easy escape out of a bad run, right? But it isn't. Instead, whenever you hit this, your placed dominoes are taken away and all of the trick tiles you hit are reset. But your current stamina and the health tiles you stood on do not reset. Also, unlike the health tiles, the restart tiles never run out of power at all. Fuck. Yeah. If you were close to finishing a stage and then hit this bastard here, you might as well use one of your 5 resets in the pause menu and save yourself a continue, because there is no way you can hit all of the trick tiles and beat the stage on your last stretch of health. It's actually impossible. And when it is this easy to hit the reset tiles, it's no surprise how frustrating it is. Oh, fuck! It's also fun when you run into an obstacle because you can't do anything until your domino has finished spinning, meaning this happens a lot. Personally, I'd recommend always picking slow mode for this game because picking fast pretty much means, well, that, all the time.
Ah well, despite all of this, I can at least safely say that Mr. Domino is probably the happiest main character in a video game I have ever seen. Look at him! He's just so happy. He's adorable, he's so cute. He's probably not only one of the happiest video game characters in history, but probably the cutest domino in video game history. Because he's the only one.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, you have 5 level resets for the whole game and only 5 lives that you can't increase, which if you run out of means that you start all over again, from the beginning. Progress is only saved through the characters that you unlock, which, apart from playing a little bit differently, don't add any kind of reward or addition to the game itself. And to unlock every character, you need to get the highest possible score on every stage. 1 perfect run, no fuck-ups. And yes, I know that I said this game gets really fucking difficult as it goes on. I mean, hell, I couldn't even beat stage 4. But despite the limited lives, pause resets, and insane challenges, there are only 6 short stages to master before completing the game. So that means plenty of time to quickly restart and learn every stage inside out. Thinking about it, I suppose it could be worse, and the pure bounciness of every stage and distinct personality it carries doesn't make it feel monotonous, which, for a game forcing you to play from the beginning every time you fail, is quite an accomplishment. It's one of those few cases where the game length increased by the difficulty alone isn't actually too bad, unless of course you get really good and beat the game in under 20 minutes. That's not so good. And even though the reward for your hard work is kind of shitty, this makes it all worth it. I'm the best in the country, apparently. Yay! PS1 was secretly connected to the internet this whole time! What's the point of this anyway? What's the goal? The story? What are we accomplishing here? I mean, the only story we got was the Dominos having fun with each other in the intro cutscene, but then in the game, the Dominos decide they aren't friends with me anymore because they keep acting like cocks to me during the levels. So it's not like we're trying to work together and domino the world over or anything. The Dominos are evil to all the humans and to each other. It's not deep or profound, they're just fucking Dominos. It makes no fucking sense. Am I looking too deep into this? What am I even doing with my life? And who cares? They got their fucking product placement in there anyway. Oh, how we laughed.
And with that, this game gets the salvage. Yeah, it may be really short and there's not much reward and it can be occasionally really fucking cheap, but you know what? I can't deny the addictiveness, the charm, and the originality that this game brings to the table, not to mention its challenge. Personally, I vote on this game needing some sort of comeback or a reboot or anything like that, but until that ever happens, if it does, I would say that if you find this game at a reasonable price, pick it up. I'd say it was pretty much worth it. I mean, it's not the best game I've ever played in my life, but it's not a bad game either. And I wouldn't say that it was an average kind of game, that it needed the salvage. So, you know, it's not an amazing game, but you know, it's worth a salvage at least. I would even call it a hidden gem on the PS1. Okay, well, that's a bit of a stretch. Maybe not a hidden gem, but a hidden £5 note in the back of the sofa. Yeah, I'd say that was pretty accurate. No. 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 The game didn't kill me. Isn't that a pity?
Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus Show, where I always do the dirty deed of... Actually, you know who I am already. You know who I am, and you know what I do. Unless, of course, you're new here and you don't know anything about me, in which case, where the fuck have you been?
I'm only joking.
Okay, blah blah blah, okay, I'm Caddicarus and I decide which games get slaughtered or salvaged. Now, today, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different with this Caddicarus show. I'm going to actually be covering something pretty much brand new. Something in date. Something topical. And it's something modern. Something that probably all of you have already heard about. Because, you know, it did kind of explode recently.
And the game that I'm covering today is going to be a little PS4 exclusive game known as
PT. You see, PT.
And for the first time ever in the history of this channel, I am covering a demo. This game is piss-pantingly terrifying, yes, that's true, but despite anything I say about it, it is still only a demo, and so, before anyone gets up in arms and confused about this, please allow me to explain myself. For those who have stayed with my channel for a good few years now, I hope you know by now that I wouldn't talk about something on this show to you all unless I thought it was interesting, intriguing. And today, despite this game only being a simple demo, it impacted me so much that I felt like it needed a full episode. Honest to God, I never thought that I would ever even consider covering something as small and not quite fully representative to the final product as a fucking demo in my whole life. Yet, here I am, talking about a demo. Anyway,
PT
is a horror game developed by a game studio in conjunction with Guillermo del Toro and, wait for it, Hideo freaking Kojima. And I must be completely honest, even though this is a demo, it is quite possibly one of the top 10 scariest things I've ever experienced in my life. Now, I get the impression that they locked Hideo Kojima in a rotting basement, and then they fed him some chicken McNuggets draped in crack, and then asked him to develop a game based on the nightmares that he had from it. Well, actually, PT isn't really a demo, because it actually stands for Playable Teaser. Yeah, that's like calling the newest Paranormal Activity watchable movie. You can't get much scarier than that. But what is it a teaser for, exactly? Well, if you were patient enough to try and beat this, it's actually a teaser for the new upcoming Silent Hill game, Silent Hills, which is still a bit hazy in the details, but seems to be scheduled for release in 2016.
Now, I don't know what's scarier. Kojima on crack cocaine, or the fact that I've got to wait 2 years for this potential masterpiece to come out. Don't worry. Patience, Caddy. Patience. Patience. Patience rewards everybody. Oh yeah, patience. Oh yeah. All we need is just a little patience.
Now I know I've been calling this game a demo for the last few minutes, despite the fact I also know that
PT
technically isn't a demo since it's potentially got nothing to do with the final product being worked on, but you know what?
It's still a demonstration. Demonstration. It's a demonstration of the themes, the game mechanics, the tech, and the promise. It's a demo. It's a demonstration. I don't care what anyone else says.
It's a teaser!
It's a demo!
Silly labeling of this game aside, however, what is this all about? You start the game with no objective, no mechanics, no story, jack diddly fuck, and you wake up alone and confused in a darkened room. My most favourite way of starting a game. Hit start and figure it out from there, you little shits. Upon leaving the room, you find yourself exploring these rather tight corridors in someone's family home. Who you are, what you're doing, what's going on, it is there, but it isn't thrown excruciatingly painfully into your face. The plot in this is extremely pushed back, but pushed forward enough for you to speculate the true ideas of what's going on and leave behind enough mystery and suspense to throw you off. As you wander around this dimly lit, trash-piled, once happy family home, you notice a few things thrown into the game to uncover more basic plot. The radio nearby reveals a news broadcast about a ruthless murder taking place in which a man brutally killed his family before hanging himself. This is as much sense the story will ever make, as from this point onwards you find nothing else to do and walk towards the only open door in the house. Upon entering this strange basement door, you appear right back at the beginning again. Fuck. And from that moment on, that's when this game decides to make you its bitch. You continuously walk around looking at things and looping around the same exact corridors as gradual, more gruesome events unfold. And where that may sound repetitive and predictable, this game does everything it can to throw you off guard. You see, where you may expect this game to just be a simple sightseeing tour with predictable triggers and no interaction, so basically a ghost train, this game manages to throw no threat at you whatsoever, and yet still manage to rip your heart out of your chest on more than one occasion. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that PT makes my TTs flee the CT. As the room keeps on looping, the Silent Hill aspect becomes much more prominent, with increasingly more horrific events unfolding as you continue, involving mysterious figures slamming doors, swinging blood-dripping boxes from the ceiling, whispers and crying through the radios, a seeping bag of bloody body parts that talks to you, this fucking ghost that stalks you, and finally this lovely image of a fucking fetus writhing in a molded bathroom sink, with poo in it. It's trippy, it's confusing, and quite honestly, the way this plays in with the sound design, strange unknown game mechanics, and incredibly gritty presentation can make it terrifying. And speaking of presentation, a Redditor known as Wolfgang actually took a screenshot from a part of the game and simply edited the gamma and other basic image levels to give us this. Holy hell. By this point, this pretty much looks like a real photo. And apparently, this game wasn't even meant to look even close to the final product, something that fills me with extreme excitement, but also, how much better could you make this look exactly? Too much polish and you'll fuck it up, you cheeky chickens. The game warns you not to play it if you have heart conditions, so with that worrying warning, it can heighten the tension of less experienced horror gamers to a point of occasionally taking a break by pausing the game. But even if you do that, you will be punished.
Tanto que todo él temblaba.
There are tons of Easter eggs like this hidden around the game, and every time you play it, you will find something different. It's extremely off-putting. Talking about plot again, as the game went on, I think I had my own brief idea to what was going on. I was figuring that I was the murderer that killed his family before taking his own life, and because of that, I am now forever stuck in my own personal limbo of hell. Or at least, before you figure it out at the end, my own Silent Hill. And in that sense, this game is a fantastic portrayal of a true psychotic descent into panic, into madness, into the main character's own grating fears, and into Silent Hill itself. Much like in previous Silent Hill games, ambiguity and cryptic scattered messages allow the player to decipher in their own way what's actually going on in the broad scheme of things, which is great and pretty creepy, but then the same thing can be said equally on the gameplay mechanics. This game essentially is a trigger horror game.
The wonderful thing about triggers is wonderful things
is that they can actually be hidden extremely well. Any kind of jump scares, much like in SCP-087-B, do appear in specific situations, but with no given context, which means that no two plays are the same and tension is extremely high. Something that really can't be said for most horror games nowadays. You have your own little impact on the environments, for sure, but whether or not your interactions affect what happens remains to be said, making the impact of even the smallest noises remarkably unbearable.
And much like the plot as well, the game mechanics are ambiguous. Very ambiguous. Maybe even too ambiguous to some.
This is, in essence, a puzzle game, with each loop of the house presenting a new puzzle to solve. Sometimes it's something as simple as just walking through the loop again, sometimes it's examining a door frame before you walk through the loop again, and other times it's finding incredibly well-hidden pieces of paper to complete a picture before looping again. All with no goal, no indication, no direction, just by your own pure wit alone. Now this can be equal parts good and bad. Good in the sense that you never know how your interactions affect the environment and change the scare tactics. The lack of knowledge to whether or not you're actually in danger, the lack of knowledge to your own sanity as you wander aimlessly shitting your pants around every corner. Not to mention getting the entire community talking and cracking their heads together to try and solve everything. But it's bad in the sense that, as I said, it's ambiguous. No main gameplay mechanics or controls are even vaguely explained to you, turning this into a bit of a random button masher at some points, with a slight hit everything everywhere until something happens to continue vibe. And I had to look online to solve the last puzzle. You know why that is? Because fuck that puzzle! I understand that the teaser needed to stretch out a bit of length for what it is, and I more than understand gamers wanting to destroy the cockiness of Kojima for claiming nobody could solve that last puzzle for at least a week. And in that sense, it's great. We need more games that force discussion and debate and experimentation amongst some of the most dedicated and intelligent gamers out there, like in the 80s with the Sword Quest games. But oh god, even with games and their random cryptic bullshit puzzle elements like with the original Zelda's Burning Bush that could have been any bush anywhere. Yeah, it was the 80s with no internet and the only thing that you could do was ask friends that knew friends that knew friends that figured it all out to complete the puzzle for that. But at least they weren't as specific as, you have to wait for 3 baby laughs that can be triggered by waiting for midnight to strike, and then you take 10 steps, listening to the phone, staring at a wall, taking 10 more steps, calling for a ghost with a DualShock 4 microphone, staring at your feet, taking a bath. I mean, piss off! I can forgive this occasionally complete random set of mechanics, what with it being a teaser that gets everybody talking and sharing their experiences. In that sense, it's ingenious for publicity, but if it's heavily condoned in the full game, that'll be extremely unnecessary and unbelievably obtuse and frustrating. But hey, coming from game developers that called themselves the 7780 Studio because that number is actually the size in square kilometers of Japan's Shizuoka Prefecture, which can be translated in English to Quiet Hills, almost very similar to Silent Hill, I find it no surprise how cryptic this game can get. I'm going to redirect you right now to this video made by an extremely clever guy who discovered the definitive way of solving this final puzzle. And holy shit, how he figured it out is unbelievable. I implore you all to check it out in the description. It's incredible, and without it, this video might not even have been possible. So thank you very much for that. I fucking love you.
Kojima has been known in the past to be a bit of a marketing sod. You know, what with all of his cryptic messages and themes and all of his trailers and all of the things that he uses in his games, he then puts into reality for publicity stunts, like with Raiden and MGS2 and the whole concept of being lied to and being deceived by technology and global media and social spread and everything. He's been known to do that. And yes, this game is kind of like that in a sense, but what better universe would that fit in than with the universe of Silent Hill? It really does fit here, and honestly, this is probably one of the best marketing stunts I have ever seen in my life. Nice work there. Again, this game is only a teaser, but honestly, the potential and promise that from this thing, it's utterly gobsmacked me, and I just had to make a video to express my excitement for the future of this. Now, I won't give this game a salvage today, purely because, well, it's not a fully retailed thing yet. I didn't pay any money for it, and I just don't think that that's fair. It doesn't classify. It was a free game, so, you know, whatever. Yeah, I know I did that with Slender, but fuck off. Rest assured, though, I love this little nightmare, and if you have a PS4, you should get this right now.
But just be careful, because if you do get it, make sure you know what you're doing. Otherwise, this will happen to you.
On a Sunday afternoon.
video game audio. Audio in video games can be a very powerful thing, can't it? Now, in the past, there have been loads of great console boot-up screen themes. You know, for example, let's just take the Nintendo GameCube, for instance. You know, with its you know, with the. But if the younger years of your life were anything like mine, then that orgasmically euphoric noise of the PS1 boot-up screen dominated your childhood. At its time, the PS1 was pushed as the absolute best possible disc home-based video game system of that time, what with it being much cheaper than the Sega Saturn, more technically advanced and easier to develop for. And the Sega CD was just... And so, Sony wanted to show absolutely everybody that they meant fucking business and that they were serious with that epic boot-up screen. It was almost like it was saying, yeah, the audio in this console is high fucking quality, and there's fucking tons of it in all of our games for it. And if you plug this into a surround sound, the bass in the fucking intro will make you shit yourself. And because of that lovely increased disc space that not many people had for the quality and quantity of the music, in my opinion, this led to some of the greatest soundtracks of all time. Not just on the PS1, but just of all time. And, you know, I tried picking 10 of my favourite PS1 soundtracks, but it was near fucking impossible, and I had to do another fucking top 20. I know, I can't decide anything. Now, please do keep in mind that I'm going to try my hardest to keep this list to one game per franchise, and also I'm going to try and avoid all of these licensed soundtracks from professional bands that have already played the songs, like compilation soundtracks. So stuff like Wipeout 2097, Tony Hawk's games, and like Dancing Stage games. I'm afraid you don't count.
Dude, you're talking about video game soundtracks?
Yeah, Balrog, I am.
Oh man, I've wanted to talk about video game soundtracks for so long. I mean, Nintendo had some of the best stuff out there.
Wait. Balrog, I'm not talking about Nintendo.
Oh. Really?
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I think Nintendo have created some of the best soundtracks that gaming has ever seen in our lives. I mean, Mario Galaxy, anyone? But you know what? I also think that there are plenty of Nintendo-based soundtrack favourite top 10 lists out there already on the internet. So you know what? I think the PS1 needs a little bit more love.
But Caddy, what about poor Nintendo? What about poor Froakie?
Fuck off, Blarg.
Fine then, forget you.
Number 20 goes to a series that I've never actually talked about on this channel before, Gex. More specifically, Gex Deep Cover Gecko. This soundtrack is one that just has that indescribable platformer bounce to it. It's got so much energy, character, and identity for every themed stage that you could name the exact type of game and level it is just by listening to a few seconds of one track of it. And since this is a game based around jumping into TV channels, it has some really strikingly different platform stage themes that occasionally escape the safe norms of platformer stages, meaning some tracks feel completely of its own amongst every other platformer out there that has ice and lava levels, for example. It's nice and fresh, and it's also very good stuff. Number 19 belongs to a very underrated game in my opinion, or at least nowhere near recognized for the soundtrack that it has. Bugs Bunny and Taz Time Busters. Time is in the name, so predictably this soundtrack is comprised of fantastically atmospheric and strongly melodic yet ambient pieces for each time period. There's so much acoustic and digital instrumental flavor, and there's so much atmospheric depth to the tracks here that it almost feels like it does not belong in a Looney Tunes game. To be only able to play you a preview of one piece from this soundtrack does not give it justice whatsoever, but I'll hope you check out the soundtrack yourselves one day and see what I mean. can I talk about PS1 music and not mention Parappa the Rapper? Obviously, he's a rapper, so rapping in this game is a given, and you must rap your way through 6 different songs with entirely different feels, rhythms, and even genres. Yeah, even though each stage is a rap song, every song has a completely different pulse with different speeds and instrumental textures to give them all a very unique style. It kind of makes you feel like you can rap to anything, really. So Youngtown, I hope you're watching this because you better fucking do it. It's catchy, incredibly addictive, the lyrics are hilariously cheesy, nonsensical, and oftentimes downright awful, and the precisely rhythmic button-tapping freestyle gameplay complements it all perfectly. Jamalami was awesome too, but I'm sorry, this will always remain my favy.
Alright, we're here, just sitting in the car. I want you to show me if you can get far. Step on the gas.
Step on the gas.
Step on the brakes.
Step on the brakes.
Now step on the gas.
Step on the gas.
When I say boom, 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 you say bam, bam, bam. No pause in between. Come on, let's jam. Step on the gas.
Step on the gas. Step on
Number 17 goes to an utterly fantastic game and debatably the best of the original trilogy, Resident Evil 2. Where the original Resi soundtrack is entirely built around heightening the tension and horror of the situation, Resi 2 does that as well, but instead squeezes all of its dark, synthy juices into the glass of loneliness. The tracks here want you to feel the sinister loneliness and utter weight and uneasiness of the whole game so much to a point of even having the save room theme, that is, the safest area of the game, still have a dark and unsettling track to accompany it, subtly reminding you that you are never out of the horror. This is a foreboding, lonely, empty, and beautifully constructed game here, with a foreboding, lonely, empty, and beautifully constructed soundtrack to accompany it. Number 16 may belong to one of my favorite PS1 games ever made, but still I'm going to stick the original Metal Gear Solid soundtrack at number 16. This is an extremely memorable soundtrack we have here, using the musical theory of leitmotif to make sure all of its instruments or digital sounds that you hear perfectly match with every environment you stealth your way through. Meaning, in this case, usage of lots of strong metallic beats and dark reverberated choirs to create a mood that's epic and encouraging, yet also incredibly suspenseful and ungodly dangerous. And the transition from this askew, slightly suspicious safety until the first time you get spotted perfectly illustrates what I mean. The music placement is weaved so brilliantly into this game you can't even believe it, really. Not to mention, it's cinematic as all hell, which from that point onwards became a staple of the Metal Gear Solid soundtracks to date. Hey look, Tomb Raider is at number 15, and it should be. This is a damn fine soundtrack. A soundtrack that is almost entirely string, woodwind, and choir-based to increase the mystery of the tombs you explore. A soundtrack that manages to take so many situations and circumstances and then decorate them all into memorable set pieces. A soundtrack that turns picking up a secret health pack into an event. A soundtrack that rarely uses any percussion whatsoever and yet still manages to drastically intensify the smallest of battles into terrifying encounters. This is what Tomb Raider will always sound like to me. Eerie, mysterious, and tense, yet calming, peaceful, and delicate. Probably symbolic of Lara's character herself. And as high quality as the reboot of Tomb Raider is, I just wish that they would start using a little bit more subtlety and mystery to the pieces instead of just going all out action on us. As far as the original soundtrack goes, I get chills up my spine every time I hear it, and I'm sure that some of you in the audience probably do as well. Number 14 goes to Ape Escape, one of the few soundtracks I can name that's driving, upbeat, and completely insane in some parts, yet memorable in every single stage, with equally catchy melodies and very intricate techno, trance, drum and bass fueled backing samples and loops to create something that really puts you in the mood to save the world. Match that against the sound effects and it just becomes overly satisfying and punchy musical bliss. Also, the genre of the music never actually changes throughout the whole game, yet each track still manages to thematically present itself completely differently, completely uniquely, and completely memorably. I really haven't got much more to say about it. It's fucking awesome. Impressive stuff there, guys. Ah, A Bug's Life. How all the critics hated you. I just so happen to like this game, actually. Not love it by any means, but I really do like it. But if you were to ask me anything that I did love about this game, however, I'd tell you that it's the soundtrack. If you ask me, this is one of the best representations of musically emulating the feeling of a quest. But not any kind of quests like the Legend of Zelda kind of quests. I mean quests that may seem very small and insignificant to you and me, but huge to an ant. And this soundtrack fits traveling through death-defying woodlands, underground tunnels, and city street dirt absolutely fantastically. Every high, every low, every treacherous path, every murderous creature, every secluded safe haven, it's all expressed in the woodwind and percussion orchestra via more leitmotif that I mentioned earlier to create some of the most surprisingly epic tracks on the PS1. Also, the pure, raw feel behind the players on the rhythmic percussion patterns makes for some hypnotic and pretty awesome beats. Oh lord, I've got to be honest, picking between Medieval 1 and 2 for this list was unbelievably tricky, but in the end, I went with Medieval 2 for the pure fact that I found it more memorable. Both Medieval 1 and 2 have equally epically constructed and gothically orchestrated deathly soundtracks, but Medieval 2 has much more charm and character to the pieces. It feels a little bit more theatric, which fits the whole idea of a dead soldier coming back to life with no eye and he's a skeleton and he throws his own arm like a boomerang pretty damn perfectly. It simply did what a sequel should have done and just expanded tenfold on what the original had accomplished, keeping the dark gothic undertones, but adding a lot more melodies and styles to accentuate it all. It aimed for a multitude of moods and emotions, and so, fortuitously, it managed to inherently create a crap ton more memorable themes for every area. As the Greasy Gamer once said, every single piece feels like a timeless tale of its own. And you know what? I couldn't put it any better myself. Couldn't agree anymore. And just missing out on the number 10 spot is Tekken 2. If you ask me, this is the greatest fighting game soundtrack that has ever existed. Ever. Not just because there are 2 versions of every track in the game, but also because they are all brilliant. Well, in all honesty, the remixes are where it's really at, but it's all brilliant. This is a soundtrack that literally rips you out of the living room and throws you into a real life or death tournament. And the sheer buzz that you get from this music when you're battling your friends or battling the computer players in the arcade mode is just indescribable. It makes you feel like you are in the arcade in the 90s playing it for the first time. It's bombastic and it's huge, and every possible aura for whatever fighting mood you're in is fully covered. silly beach songs, brooding forest songs, church hall songs, neon rooftop songs, calm mountain songs. I mean, every single track here is memorable and incredible to a point of you not giving a shit where you're fighting anymore and just standing around and taking all the music in. They become part of the stage, and it makes every environment an aggressive joy to battle in, which I feel like a lot of fighting games nowadays, even Tekken itself, seem to have completely forgotten about. As far as Tekken 2 goes though, I must say, I do feel Tekken in by this game every time I hear it.
Because it sounds like Taken Liam Neeson.
And there you have it, everyone, my top 20 to 11 favourite PS1 soundtracks of all time. If it's your birthday today or watching this video, then happy frickin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful. And with that very awkward silence, let's go!
Ah yes, my favourite PS1 game ever made. What is your soundtrack doing so moderately high on my list? Well, because as much as I love the soundtrack, it is a little bit messy. A little bit overly hyperactive in some parts when it really doesn't need it, and the quality of the music itself isn't perfect, and most of the tracks are really just short loops. But are they good loops?
You bet your ass.
Just like any great adventure platformer soundtrack, the way that the music captures the essence of adventure and progression through the story is superb, and the pieces, like the story, start off bouncy and incredibly catchy, but then get gradually darker and more ominous the more you begin to uncover in the story. And yet despite that, they still manage to maintain the cartoony, catchy excellence expressed through the whole game itself, no matter what the situation you run into is. If you listen to this soundtrack anytime soon, you just try getting it out of your head. Number 9 belongs to Rayman 2. Wow, I'm only working in twos by the seams, aren't I? There are far too many songs on this soundtrack that I could have used for a preview, and picking that even within itself was near impossible. Even though I find this game too fucking easy in itself, this is one of the longest, well-constructed, atmospheric, and adventurous soundtracks on the PS1. Pretty much of all time. It's so good that it actually explains the Rayman 2 story completely on its own merits. The songs play such an integral part of the areas and the horrifically dark atmosphere that in certain points it becomes more threatening than the enemies trying to kill you, while in other points it's incredibly funky, wide-eyed, and encouraging to remind you that you are the badass limbless hero saving the planet. And this is all accomplished without uncomfortably jerking or shifting through these tones with the lovely orchestration that it has. And for a 3D platformer that succeeded something as harmful as this, the lengths that this soundtrack goes to tell you how serious it is undeniable. It wants you to know that this isn't kid stuff anymore, and it really works. I am so sorry, Rayman 1, but you know, one game per franchise, and I do think that your little brother has the better soundtrack. I'm so sorry. But you do have some very good music as well, like the band one. The band one was really good. And it's got musical things in the stage, so obviously it's gonna be good. It's a band one. Number 8 goes to probably the most experimental and complex soundtrack on this list, Silent Hill. If there was ever a video game soundtrack that sounded like it wanted to leap out of the TV and kill you, this is it. Not only do the industrial, heavy, and gratingly horrific, life-threatening pieces truly accentuate the unbearably harsh art styles and themes in the game, but even the slower and proper instrumental guitar pieces serve to heighten the trippy atmosphere and help even further to blur the line between vision and reality within the game. Also, it's worth mentioning that some of the enemy encounter pieces used manually tuned recordings of dentist drills in the songs to make them more savage and terrifying. And this was obviously done in great reason, because then it froze up any person who dared to pick up the game. Fucking awesome. Shit is about to get real now, people. Picking between Final Fantasy VII and IX soundtracks were close to impossible here, because despite my dislike for most of the games in the series that I have demonstrated more than once on this channel, one thing I really do like about them is the fucking music. I don't really think I need to explain the subtle beauty and grand style of pretty much any of the pieces from, well, any Final Fantasy game, because it's been fantastic since day one. But for the PS1, I may have to go with Final Fantasy VII soundtrack because of how timeless it is. Yeah, I may not like you so much, Final Fantasy, but hot damn, you've got some fantastic fucking music. Number 6 goes to Klonoa. Clonor? Not only is this one of my favorite PS1 games ever made, but the music is also simply marvelous. This soundtrack is like a long journey through life. It begins like an innocent child absorbing its surroundings and eager for adventure. Then it comes down into the slightly older ages of discovering the world's mysteries, finding out your fears, and questioning the unknown in the world. And then it comes down to the even older moments of life with intense confrontation and true tests to your own strengths and beliefs. It's an extremely emotional soundtrack, and it should be, because behind this disarmingly adorable appearance lies a game with an extremely heart-wrenching ending and very heavy themes thrown into the story. And what's great is the way that those themes in the story are expressed not only through the gameplay and the visuals, but the soundtrack as well. Beautiful stuff. Oh my god, you know what I hate? I hate it when I think a game is extremely mediocre and just okay, but then it has to go ahead and eventually win me over with an awesome fucking soundtrack. And Croc is a game that does that to me. The way this soundtrack takes so many compositional elements and ostinatos from the simple overworld themes and then switches them up to pack a deeply emotional and characterized punch in every single stage absolutely gobsmacks me. This is a true testament to how many variations of a reoccurring theme you can throw at a listener, and yet still somehow manage to keep each variation completely distinct and memorable. And not to mention, this is also one of the more gentle and wholly reflective soundtracks on this list as well, not only remaining to keep the game cute, but also sometimes to keep it very sentimental and actually touching. It's a beautifully delicate, yet energetically funky blessing on an otherwise okay game. Score is a soundtrack that is just downright fucking kick-ass. I have no other word. Ass. And god damn it, more people should talk about this game too because it's really fucking good. Toy Story 2 is a soundtrack with not a single unforgettable and samey, boring track on it. Even if a stage you encounter within the game has a similar visual style or theme to another one, the music that accompanies each stage is entirely different and extremely well made in its own right, which, for a movie licensed game, is really something to behold. So many different musical genres, from country and western to epic movie scores, are all covered here, and they're all completely nailed. And much like a Bug's Life, this music manages to create the most epic adventure out of the stages which would normally be very boring to you and me, which is what a game about playing Buzz Lightyear should feel like. How do you feel about playing a stage in a platform where you're just running around a normal, average American family suburban home? No? Well, the music makes it the most fucking exciting thing ever. I mean, the gameplay is top-notch and it does help with that as well, but the music is the main selling point to me. It also manages to take some musical ideas that would ordinarily sound extremely stockish and bland, but then it adds in enough of its own distinct instrumental, acoustic, digital, orchestral quirks to truly make each stage an absolute blast to play. It can be dark, it can be bright, it can be grand, it can be threatening, and most importantly, it never loses its charm from start to end. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe it's because I've been a drummer for about 7 years of my life and I really fucking admire Stuart Copeland's drumming and composition skills. Maybe it's because I played all 3 of these games inside and out as a kid to a point of nearly knowing everything. Or maybe, just maybe, it's actually because this soundtrack is really fucking great. Spyro 1's soundtrack was extremely ambient and atmospheric, but in my opinion, not the most memorable. Spyro 2's soundtrack was choppier, more experimental, more grounded, and fantastic. Yet, in my opinion, many of the tracks still sounded far too similar to truly stand out. Spyro 3, on the other hand, takes everything great about both game soundtracks and Copeland's compositional evolution and combines it into the perfect Spyro soundtrack. This is a soundtrack that makes everything from the hub worlds to the boss battles carry so much fucking weight to the point of them feeling equally important and equally fun and equally exciting in the whole damn game. And it really did showcase the highest point of Copeland's video game composing, because he went much crazier and much more prominent with his drumming patterns and time signatures with this game, as well as compose some of the greatest bass lines ever written in a video game and create one of the most instrumentally complex and catchy platform game soundtracks of all fucking time. I mean, think about it, if a song in the game is played at 7/8 time signature and you don't even realize it, the track is doing something right. To even consider not being able to play every single track for you in this game feels like a crime. It's that good. Number 2 is a legend. Is Crash Bandicoot 2's soundtrack as complex, emotional, thought-provoking, or crazy as the other soundtracks preceding it? Well, no. But that's because Crash Bandicoot 2's soundtrack is one that really sounds like it does not give a shit and simply does its own unique and damn incredible thing. How on earth do you build music around an anthropomorphic bandicoot, as well as increase the production values and truly leave an insane impact for the sequel to PlayStation's biggest mascot at the time? Well, I don't fucking know, but Josh Mansell found a way, and his unparalleled musical style was at its peak with this epic soundtrack. Sure, Crash 3 was fantastic also, but Crash 2 signified the uprising of the Bandicoot and the uprising of Mansell's composing abilities. Crash was in the big leagues now, and this music backed him up to stardom in every single regard. It wasn't anything too hard on the ears or too mind-blowing, but it was the cool kid of PS1 music. It didn't fucking need to be anything more than it was. It just rocked the fuck out with its fantastic melodies sprung around sewer diving, polar bear riding, future speeding, temple toppling, swamp swimming, woodland running, and boss kicking. As soon as you played through each stage of this game even once, you can name every single stage that this soundtrack goes along with within the first first second that the songs begin. And it's one of the few instances in a game where I genuinely looked forward to starting yet another repeated level with a recurring theme, just so that I could take in the utterly joyous soundtrack along with it. It's exciting, it's cool, it never ever gets old no matter how many times you hear it, and it's one of the most deeply characterized and audio perfect representations of what you actually see going on within the game I have ever seen. Just like, for example, in the way that Rocket, a level about donning a jetpack through space, begins floaty and awe-inspiring, and then very gradually speeds up and intensifies to signify the takeoff, and then finally comes to a stupendous chorus to show the perilous, unstable, and fast-paced rocket exploration that you're undergoing. And hell, the music even made the Tiny Tiger boss level scary. The music did that on its own. It's just pure ecstasy. I can't think of anything else to say. Well, at least in my opinion anyway. Symphony of the fucking Night. That's not the name of the game, I was just saying a swear. Do I need to explain why this made #1? No, I don't think I do. It's got symphony in the damn title. Of course the music will be good apart from that. Everything about this soundtrack is just perfect. There isn't a single thing I can say against it. Every single solitary musical score complements the gameplay perfectly, whether or not you're stuck in a badass boss battle or exploring a crumbling and decomposing tower. Every mood, every emotion, every single potential thing in this game that it wants you to feel or do is illustrated beautifully in this golden crispy slice of audio goodness. It's so captivating that turning this game off feels like a sin, because the music stops. It complements every character and the events that they go through absolutely perfectly, almost feeling like the backing track to the most badass and arduous audiobook out there. And it even gives you feelings towards people that sound like this.
Die, monster! You don't belong in this world!
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets! But enough talk! How about you?
Gotta say, that's impressive. If there was ever a soundtrack to not only demonstrate the power and majesty of the game, but the power and majesty of the PlayStation itself, this, in my opinion, is most indeed it. And I can tell you, this will never leave your head. Ever. And there you have it, everybody, my top 10 favourite personal, as in mine, so not everybody's. Can people not fucking get that? Favourite PS1 soundtracks ever made. I really do hope you enjoyed this video series if you stayed from part 1, in which case if you did stay from part 1, congratulations and thank you so much for joining me. And like I just said, this is only my personal favourite list, so please disagree with me, agree with me, share your personal favourite, make yourself a top 20 list and get the comments flowing with that stuff because that would be awesome and I'd love to see what everyone else thinks. But until next time, if it's your birthday today or watching this video, then happy frickin' birthday to you. Please remember to stay beautiful. And just to end on a question, can you connect the beans to spell out the breakfast items? Can you? Yes, this can only mean one thing, and that is Halloween is fast approaching. What an amazing time of year. I mean, you don't know what it is about Halloween, but you just feel it, you know? I mean, what is it about Halloween exactly? I mean, is it in the air?
Yes.
Is it on the streets?
Yes.
Is it in the trees?
Yes.
Is it in the kitchen? Well, probably not, but that doesn't really matter because... Oh no! Ah! Oh, what the... Who's this dead body in my kitchen? Who put that there?
Hey, Ollie, do you know who that is?
Don't worry, it's just my sister.
I mean, I do know it's a bit too early for any kind of obligatory Halloween special just yet, but you know what? That's not gonna stop me. Who's gonna get upset with me, right? So, let's just see what we've got on the shelf. Nothing here. I guess we'll have to go down, down, down. Right, let's see. Ah, yeah, how about this? I've wanted to talk about Eternal Darkness on this channel for the longest time that I can remember. Okay, I guess if my game shelf doesn't want me to play anything scary, I'll just have to go with... Alrighty then, so I guess we're stuck with playing, Donald Duck. I guess Halloween came early for me, you know what I'm saying? Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not a game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged. And today, it seems as though I have no other choice but to play through, a fucking Donald Duck game for the PS1. I don't really know what else to say, so let's just pop this in and give it a go.
Caddy, I could do the best impression of Donald Duck.
Oh, honey, you can? Oh, well, go on. Let's hear it then.
I'll see myself out.
Well, let's stop wasting time, Disney Interactive, because we need to find out this unquestionably epic story through the first cutscene.
Is that it? Okay, well, sorry about that, guys. I literally do not know if that is all the first cutscene is, but rest assured, this is not a very good start.
Well, at least the game works now, but I have no idea what's going on, so I suppose I'll actually have to read the manual. And geez, these were the good old days. Look how colourful and elaborate this manual is. I always felt like I was getting my true money's worth with physical games when they came with these awesomely fun to read manuals like this. I mean, whatever happened to them? All we have nowadays are... Also, while we're here on the box, I should point out that in every other version of this game, it's known as Donald Duck Going Quackers, and only in the European version is it known as Quack Attack. But hey, if you ask me, that is an undoubtedly cooler title, so fuck off. Either way, from what I gathered in the manual, Daisy has been kidnapped by the evil Murloc the Magician because she tried to publicly broadcast his evil tomfoolery on TV, and in an attempt to save her, this dingus tried creating a device to get her back, but unfortunately, the device needs a certain amount of these orbs here to power the machine and reach Murloc. So naturally, we have 4 different worlds with 4 stages in each, and a hidden bonus stage for every world. Honestly, it's pretty self-explanatory, so let's begin stage 1.
Oh! I thought we were playing Donald Duck Quack Attack, not Crash Bandicoot. Oh! We're not? Nah, don't be silly. It's fucking Crash Bandicoot. What do you mean it isn't? Yes it is, it's fucking Crash Bandicoot. Now have a look. Have a look, it's the same thing as your fucking Crash Bandicoot. Have a look, it's your Crash Bandicoot. It's the same game. But it's not the same game, it is Crash Bandicoot. You tricked me, it's Crash Bandicoot, not Donald Duck, it's Crash Bandicoot.
So yeah, this is a pretty standard platforming fare. You get checkpoints, collect 100 stars for a new life, there's enemies and obstacles, the stages offer both 3D and 2D platforming, basically exactly like Crash Bandicoot. It's even noticeable in the way that it controls. Despite the amount of buttons on this thing, the only thing you can do, like Crash, is move around, jump, and attack. Also, if you want to, you can use R3 to jump. Okay, but apart from that, all the other buttons do Mr. Bugger all of the Carey Funny Farm Neeby Deep Limited. Well, one thing that is different from Crash is the way that there are these 3 toys in every stage to collect, and that unlocks you bonuses. And how you do that is by hitting a book and then racing to where the toy is before the timer runs out. And when you do collect all the toys, Donald does the most questionably scary thing I've ever seen in my life. But other than that, you collect orbs just like crystals, and that's it. The level design, though, isn't actually that bad. It starts off unbelievably easy, but then gets much more challenging as you go on, with new variants on obstacles and new, more challenging enemy types in each world. Unfortunately, even though that's the case, most of the enemies are in the middle of nowhere and are extremely easy to see coming and defeat. Apart from these wankers! And most of the obstacles in the worlds are just boring things that you need to jump on or run around, with no variations on them throughout the whole world until you hit the next one. I mean, it's not bad per se, but for the year 2000 when this game came out, it's sometimes really damn unimaginative. But something I really do like is the mood system for Donald. Donald's health is indicated by his mood. He starts off happy, but then take a hit and he gets grumpy. And then take another hit and you die. When you do get hit from happy mode though, Donald gets really angry and turns briefly invincible with this cloud of rage before hitting the grumpy mood. It's a really smart idea and it's really true to Donald's character, especially when you die multiple times and physically see Donald getting more pissed off at his failures. And then to replenish your mood, all you have to do is grab a milkshake, and then you return to being a happy little duck. But here's the thing, if you get a milkshake while in happy mood, Donald looks like he wants to piss all over the carpet. Oh, and you're briefly invincible as well, but for much longer than the rage cloud. Only problem is though that there's no musical jingle like in Crash or Mario, and there's no indication or calming period to let you know when you'll return back to normal, so half the time you're rushing through everything and poof! You suddenly downgrade to happy again and hurt yourself. Also, when Grumpy Donald is running, he reminds me a lot of Brutal Moose. I mentioned earlier that there's a hidden bonus stage in every world, but your shitey little nephews are all like, "Hey Uncle Donald, I want my toys back!" Yeah, they want you to find all 12 of their identical toys in each world before they can even be persuaded to move aside and let you into the bonus world, you little fucking scumbags. But luckily, I don't think there's much point to this, because aside from playing a little bit differently from the other stages, there's zero reward for unlocking and beating these bonuses besides a pointless 100% completion.
You know, before you got here, Bradstone ran by looking for Daisy. Boy, he sure runs fast. I bet you can't run as fast as he can.
Well, fuck you, Huey, you piece of shit! Why don't you stick up for your old uncle once in a while, huh? And as Huey delightfully put it, yes, your rival cousin, Gladstone, wants to get inside Daisy's pants. I'm so sorry, that was revolting. Before you do, so you need to beat all of his times in every stage with time trials. Sound familiar? Yeah, me neither. All you get, though, from beating every time trial in the world is a new costume, so unless you really want to see Donald run around in a tourist outfit with different idle animations, I'd say you can skip these parts as well.
Last time we tried to get past this moose, he knocked Billy clean through a wall.
Visually, this game fares off as just okay. The character models are decent, I mean, you can tell this is Disney all around, and the 2D segments look the best, if only for the more creative backgrounds, but in the 3D segments, they're just real mediocre. And when you start time trial mode and all the pickups vanish, it's then you realize how fucking barren this game looks. It turns out that the multiple colors of the pickups and the stars are what make them look a little bit more interesting, which isn't great. The same goes for the music as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's pretty high quality, and the tracks themselves are darn decently written, but then you realize that every stage for each world uses the same track on repeat over and over again. God, someone shoot me! Whoa, shit! I didn't mean it! By the way, there are sequences where you can't rush through this game. Most stages are so easy you can run through them non-stop, but sometimes you have to step back and go through the decent platforming challenges at a slower pace. But hey, the controls are responsive, the jump arc is really good, and the attack range is pretty long, which makes all of these challenges really fair. And unlike Crash 2 and 3's crystals, there are some orbs in this game that I actually nearly completely missed because they were slightly hidden. And there was even one stage I had to restart because I completely missed it. Gotta hand it to you, way to keep me thinking on my feet. I mean, as a kid's game, this game isn't actually that bad. Sure, there's a lot wrong with it, but the core mechanics are there, spinning smoothly, and are fairly decent. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is one of the easiest games I've ever played, and I did end up beating it in about an hour because
I'm a grown-ass man.
And I'm sure that any other seasoned platformer could beat the game 100% in about 2 hours because of how fucking easy this is all around. But for younger gamers or newcomers to the platformer genre, I'd say that the challenge here would be perfect. In fact, I even remember being stumped once or twice by this game when I was a lot younger. However, as easy as this game is, I don't really want to beat it 100%. I mean, after that broken, shitty cutscene in the very beginning of the game, I don't really want to risk beating it and wasting all that time for a broken ending cutscene. So, you know what that means. Oh, well, as it turns out, there are no cheats for this game. weird. And Mr. Rodriguez, I'm so sorry, but jumping is not a cheat. Also, the PlayStation hasn't got an A or a B button, so whatever it is you've been smoking, please let me have some of that because that shit sounds good. Oh yeah, how could I forget the boss battles as well? Again, they're kind of easy, but for kids, I can imagine these being pretty damn challenging. They're simple, sure, and they tell you blatantly where to hit the enemies when they're weak because but they're actually really well designed, and bosses like the Beagle Boy and even the final boss with Murloc had me dying quite a few times. Surprisingly good, challenging stuff, especially Murloc. Oh, and you also get to fight against
Count Duckula.
And the best thing about her boss is the fact that she casts spells, and for some reason my music bugged out at this point, so I was stuck listening to this for the entire fight. And there we go, finished the game. And all that effort for a machine that makes rabbit shit and a duck face-sitting contest. Whatever 100% will bring you, I don't even want to know. And so, in conclusion, Quack Attack gets the Slorvage. Yeah, despite all of the lack of polish in the presentation and the design and the utter easiness of the whole game, you know what? It's a Disney game. A Disney game for kids. And you know, as a kids game, it does everything it needs to, and it does it pretty damn well, all things considered. However, even if you are a kid, I would just suggest playing the original Crash trilogy anyway for a much better platforming experience all around. So, yeah, play those games. And ignore this video.
Not high enough.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I don't want to play this game anymore!
It's okay.
I don't care about your fucking channel.
I got no head.
Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not the game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged. What's that? Halloween is over?
Fuck!
Well, that doesn't really matter. I mean, I love Halloween far too much to just let my Halloween special slide away like that. I mean, who cares if I couldn't fit in a video on Halloween? My schedule didn't fit that in, but who cares? Well, you know, this has to be done. I have to do some sort of Halloween special, even if it is after Halloween, but I need to find a decent reason to do something scary after Halloween, so what should I do? Yes, I know! I'll call Jordan underneath. I mean, his channel is pretty much Halloween 24/7. Every video is Halloween, every minute of every day, so I'll just call him up and see if I can do something. Hello, Jordan. It's me.
Fuck off, Caddy!
Hello?
Don't ever do that again.
I'm sorry, just being alone for all these years really messes with you.
Jordan, I want to talk about something scary for Halloween, but Halloween was 2 days ago, so do you think you can help me out at all?
You mean, like, collaborate?
Yes.
Review something together?
Yes.
Okay.
Aha! Perfect! In which case, can we do Resident Evil 0? How did you know I was going to say that?
You should never have called me.
And with that, let's talk about Resident Evil 0. So, is everyone ready for some true terror? Well, you can get some. As long as you stay far away from these chains here because they're really dangerous. Safety is this channel's #1 priority, and viewer security is paramount to enjoying each and every single episode. Actually, they aren't real. Look. Plastic. Don't worry. I won't get hurt.
Had you going though, didn't I?
Well, here's a game that not many people have talked about, the GameCube exclusive Resident Evil 0. As far as I understand, this was the final traditional fixed camera exploration in canon Resi game to ever be made, and unfortunately it also feels like that, because it's almost the transitional Resi game. The transition to more action, the transition to little build-up, the transition to monsters coming at you and going every second, it's a bit of a messy game. No pun intended. Yummy.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how I feel about this game. Resident Evil 0 is not an easy game to talk about. I mean, it isn't necessarily a bad game, but I wouldn't really call it a good game either. It's just weird, and flawed, and incredibly awkward. And sure, I suppose the critics liked it, but the critics also liked Resident Evil 6. So forgive me for not bouncing out of my seat in shock.
Oh, speaking of, you know who else liked Resident Evil 6?
What? No! I don't like Resident Evil 6.
You gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
That video is old and it's outdated. I was very young. And very foolish.
Sure you were.
The thing is, Resident Evil 0 is nothing like the maddening monstrosity of Resident Evil 6. Resi 6 was just kind of an obvious mess. It was a disordered little train wreck of a game, ruined by focus groups and a complete lack of integrity on Capcom's part. It was shallow and disappointing. Nothing worth talking about, in my opinion. But Resident Evil 0 is a different story. A very different story. This is just a weird fucking game. I think I'd call it the oddball of the Resident Evil series. It feels like a game that tried to keep the great aspects of the Resi formula, but for some reason changed everything up within that formula, in completely the wrong way.
But hey, let's stop beating around the hairy bush and show everyone what we mean. Although before we do that, first things first, we gotta just clean these up at the TV, because you get a little stinky.
So, our game begins with an announcer that sounds like a rapper.
Resident Evil 0.
And we are 18-year-old Rebecca Chambers, a member of the STARS police force Bravo team, who were the first team in the original Resident Evil sent in to investigate these cannibalistic murders in the Arklay Mountains. Yes, this game is a prequel, and it's a prequel to the
entirety of Resident Evil.
Anyway, if you played Resi 1, I'm sure you know the story. Bravo team ends up crash landing in the middle of the woods and getting killed. And so Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Albert Wesker, Brad Vickers, Joseph Frost, and Barry Burton are sent in to find them. But instead of finding their friends, they end up finding a spooky mansion filled to the brim with dark secrets, unsolved mysteries, evil plots, and, of course, zombies and monsters.
Zombies and monsters.
Yes, zombies and monsters.
Zombies and monsters.
Zombies and monsters.
But this isn't Resident Evil 1 and there's no Jill sandwiches, so instead we're stuck with Rebecca who finds a train. Riveting. Either way, I have to say something before we continue. This game is beautiful. Seriously. Games like this really make me miss pre-rendered backgrounds. This game is completely gorgeous. I mean, just look at it. And as expected, it controls like a fucking tank. And true Resident Evil, ladies and gentlemen. And the music is fantastically ominous and expressive to boot. It's great that after the RE1 remake on the GameCube, Capcom tried to make another RE game that feels exactly like it, and props to them because it really does feel like it. The atmosphere in some parts of this game just astounds me, I must be honest. The way it feels like traditional Resi is even prevalent in the cheesiness levels.
I need to know the truth. Did you kill 23 people? I'm not going to judge you. What happened?
It's worse than... We can't. You must be careful, Rebecca. The forest is full of...
Yep, the levels here are like, I think it's about vintage cheddar. Even in the text and diary entries, this game never ceases to make me laugh. Yep, Edward was just so happy a few hours ago. What a shame that he's dead, eh? Instead, you brush it off like he just got dumped. However, the presentation may be fantastic, but the thing with this game that leaves me split, though, is the gameplay. The sad thing is that there are tons of great ideas here, but the way that they are executed is not as great as the idea, which is great. I mean, for instance, there's just so much wrong with this damn intro sequence. This whole entire train portion of the game, I'm afraid, is really bad. We find out that a former Marine death row inmate called Billy Cohen has escaped, and so, logically, we were told to split up earlier. This man killed 23 innocent people. And we're told to split up. In the forest. Idiots! Anyway, zombies happen, blah, 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 and then we find Billy on a train.
Lieutenant Cohen.
So, you seem to know me. been fantasizing about me, have you?
Well, this guy's a complete dick. I hope we're not stuck with him.
And here we have the biggest problem with the game, ladies and gentlemen. 2 bloody characters. Yes, what sets Resident Evil 0 apart from all the other games in the series is the fact that you have to spend this whole game, playing as 2 different people. You have to run around as both Billy and Rebecca, switching back and forth between the 2 of them, forcing them to work together, forcing them to talk, flirt, swap items, kill monsters, save each other's lives, make out with each other, whatever the hell they like to do. And you know what? It never, ever works. It just completely ruins the flow of the game. And it takes away from the lonely, creepy atmosphere that made old Resident Evil so great. And don't get me wrong, I love Resident Evil. The Resident Evil remake on the GameCube is one of my favorite games of all time. And while I do like how similar this game is to that one, especially in terms of design, it's just not the same. It's not as lonely. It's not as scary. I mean, how am I supposed to be scared of this game when Billy's following me around this train, snarking and flirting with his flirty, snarky voice?
All right, Miss Do-It-Yourself. What should I call you?
The name is Rebecca Chambers, but that's Officer Chambers to you.
Well, it could be worse. I mean, the gender roles could be reversed. I mean, could you imagine if Rebecca was the one flirting and then Billy was the one snarking his face off? I mean, what do you think that would sound like?
You know, I've always wanted to say this, but I think you're really attractive, Billy.
I told you I'm not interested, Rebecca.
But I like you, Billy.
You know something? I've killed 23 people and I won't hesitate to just shoot you in the—
Just give me a chance. Give me a chance, Billy.
Wait, what were we talking about?
I don't remember. We were reviewing Resident Evil 4. Or 2. Or 7.
We're not very good at this, are we?
Anyway, as the game's intro goes on, our characters continue exploring the mysterious train. We come across some zombies, some dogs, some leeches. Then we see some leeches making a zombie, which not only makes no goddamn sense at all, but is also pretty fucking gross. And then there's a scary man in a dress that sings opera in the most disturbing manner you could ever imagine. Yep, it's not scary, Capcom. And then we encounter the first boss level, completely out of fucking nowhere, a giant scorpion. What? And guess what you do here? You aim at the floor, wait, and then shoot. That's it. It's fucking awful. Please, can you please just, can you stop? Now the train setting itself, where really damn cool, is unfortunately far too cramped and thin spread to leave you feeling dread around every corner. Because there are no corners. Imagine if you played the entirety of Resident Evil 1 on one long corridor of the entire mansion. Yeah, that's what this whole train bit feels like. Kinda like this. You don't ever feel cut off from the world and completely surrounded by your own unexpected death. You just feel tired and annoyed from sprinting back and forth and up and down stairs trying to reach your next goal.
Also, within this train sequence, the game introduces you to so many goddamn enemies with no build-up, no subtlety, and no surprising reveal whatsoever. I think there's a little too much variety in Resident Evil 0. Like, the game is spending the first 2 hours of itself desperately trying to grab your attention by jiggling keys in your face. Mutant zombie keys that eat you. I mean, there's just something really not scary about being stuck on a small train with killer dogs, a bunch of zombies, 1,000 bloodthirsty leeches, 2 main characters, a silly anime character standing outside and singing opera, and a fucking giant scorpion to top it all off. I mean, how can you say all that without just laughing? Seriously, this is not how you start a survival horror game. How can I explain this better? Remember the first zombie from Resident Evil 1? Remember how eerie that encounter was? How slowly presented and carefully revealed it was? I mean, everyone remembers that scene. You turn the corner, see the zombie from behind, and then he turns around and rears his hideous white face. See, that right there, that's subtlety. That's presentation. That is horror. But in Resident Evil 0, when Rebecca sees her first zombie, the whole scene is almost just glanced over. The zombie gets up and moans in the silliest way possible, and then a bunch of other zombies pop up out of nowhere, and Rebecca just shoots them down.
What just happened? I thought they were dead.
I don't know, it just feels rushed and flimsy and dumb.
Oh, and let's talk about the main gameplay mechanic, playing as two characters at once. Once you're attached to this dick, the game more or less becomes a constant escort mission from start to end. First off, try using both controller sticks to control both characters with Resident Evil tank controls. Go on, give it a try, I dare you. As you can guess, this is near fucking impossible, so 90% of the game is then spent with you playing with the AI, which is meh. It works well enough with following you, but then it likes to get in your way, sometimes not attack enemies at all when you specifically ask it to, and basically just ruin your super happy fun times. And that's a shame because the way that the partner controls are mapped to the pad I really like. To switch characters, just hit X, and then to tell them to wait or follow you, just hit start. Simple, effective. Although, like we mentioned earlier with the whole constant monsters thing, the problem is that because of your partner, you have to look after them, and half the time that means you have to kill everything you see on the screen, just to be safe that your partner won't get caught. In previous Resi games, whenever you are low on health or ammo, you could make panic decisions on which enemies to use your final bullets on, and those games encouraged you to think of more strategies other than fighting head on. However, with a partner AI, that is thrown out the window because of how much they can get into trouble and get you a game over. Especially in the parts when you're forced to split up, and then you hear your partner crying over the radio for help because you forgot about that one hidden zombie slowly eating away at them and they can't just push them away for a fucking second while you— I mean, there are some times where you can get away with running past them, but when your game is built around two different playable characters, meaning more ammo and more guns to find anyway, why not just kill everything you see? There's ammo everywhere in this game, and I don't know about you, Jordan, but I never ran out of the stuff. I couldn't pick up other items because of how much fucking ammo I had. The monsters in this game just do not carry the same weight as the ones from the past, and that sucks.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, the gameplay really is the worst thing. I mean, I could forgive Resi 0 for not being very scary, if it was at least fun to play. But it's not fun to play. Most of the game is just spent shuffling around the inventory screen. In fact, yeah, that's all this game is. The inventory. They shouldn't have called this game Resident Evil 0. They should have called it Menu Mania, because that's really all it is. You will literally be spending 75% of the game messing around in the inventory, just trying to get Rebecca and Billy's stupid shit in order. And you're never sure which character should hold what. You're never sure which character's gonna disappear, or end up getting kidnapped in the next 10 minutes. And when it does happen, what do you know? It's the character who's holding all the fucking ammo. Don't worry, Rebecca, you just stay there in that giant centipede's mouth and I'll toy around with the inventory for another 5 hours. Or just reset the game.
Okay, it sounds like we completely hate this game, but that isn't actually the case. There's a lot of good things in this game, such as, well, for example, the picking up and dropping item sound effects. They fucking crack me up. And yes, I did just say dropping and picking up, probably the best thing about this game. Unlike previous Resident Evils, you can pick up and drop any item you wish at any point of the game, and even combine and use items you find without picking them up at all. Unless your inventory is full, in which case that makes no lick of fucking sense. But it is extremely useful for inventory management, especially when the map shows you what the items you dropped are in each room of the area that you're in. That's fantastic. And I find myself dropping ink ribbons all over the place wherever there's a typewriter, saving me from carrying them everywhere, and also assuring me that I have a method of saving wherever I go. And despite how menu mania this game can be with two characters, you know what? The puzzles I really enjoyed. Some require fourth dimensional thinking with each character in different parts of the area, some require easy to pick up yet tricky to solve number puzzles under a time limit, and others use riddles and feel extremely Silent Hilly. In fact, here's some actual notes that I took from this game when I came across a few puzzles that stumped me. Now, I haven't done that in a while, I can tell you.
Also, I signed it if you want to buy it.
Plus, even though the train sequence is indeed poor, the game actually gets much better as it goes on.
Would you say that it got scarier?
Well, it gets scarier than the train, at least.
You mean like this?
No.
Oh. That was kind of embarrassing. Either way, would you like to carry on with your point, and I'll just go and make myself a nice hot cup of tea?
Yes, believe it or not, the game does actually pick itself up right after the train portion. After the train crashes and Billy and Rebecca survive, the game starts to get much bigger and much darker, throwing you into grand gothic mansion hallways, disgusting filthy underground torture chambers, dark demonic genetic experimentation labs, and the whole experience begins to feel much more at home, and much more Resident Evil. It all starts out when you set foot in the Arclay training facility, which, Wait a minute. That's the mansion. No, really. That's the mansion from Resident Evil. That is literally the same as the first damn mansion from the first damn game. Way to go above and beyond, Capcom.
Hey, we need to make a new Resident Evil game. But where should we make it take place?
Oh, I know. Let's make it take place in a spooky mansion in the middle of the woods.
That's brilliant. And original.
Oh, and the fact that Billy has a higher defense and is stronger than Rebecca to push items and things like that, yeah, it does make for some tense moments sometimes. But yeah, I agree with you actually, Jordan. Despite the huge problems with the intro and the flaws with most of the way the game works, this is where it starts to shine. You begin to encounter giant mutant bats and all sorts of other crazy shit like that. Every room of the training facility and the secret labs, much like the mansion in Resi 1, has a distinctive personality, a history, and the enemies and tragic diary entries all tell that tale. This last 2/3 of the game is where the puzzles get more creative. You're thrown into situations that force you and your partner apart, and everything starts to feel a little bit more unexpected and slightly strange. And nowhere is that unexpectedness more horrifying than it is with the Leech Man. This guy is an awesome enemy. He's strong, he appears anywhere, his leeches can detach and hurt you, and to top it off, he looks like that. Holy hell, he's creepy. And oh my god, the music that plays whenever he pops into the frame of your screen is horrifying. Just when you think you're safe, it'll catch you off guard unlike anything you could possibly imagine. Oh, jeez. Oh my god, I didn't see that coming. Oh. Well, okay. I'll be prepared for that next time it happens. I lied! I'm not ready!
Oh yes, the Leech Man. I must agree. The Leech Man is one of my favorite monsters in the entire Resident Evil series. In fact, he's probably my favorite thing about the game. If I ever made a top 10 Resident Evil monsters list, I'd probably put him near the very top.
That's a pretty good idea, actually. Maybe I will make a top 10 Resident Evil monsters.
And from here on out, the game is pretty much your average Resident Evil game. You find items, you solve puzzles, you fight monsters, and of course, you find a hidden laboratory with evil experiments at the end. Also, dialogue. Terrible, terrible, terrible dialogue.
Now I will have my revenge on Umbrella, and the world will burn in an inferno of hate!
You'll pay for what you've done.
And all in all, at the end of this nightmare, Rebecca ends up at the Spencer Mansion to kick off Resi 1, and Billy just walks away and never returns. The prequel to Resident Evil 1, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. 2 questions then. 1, why doesn't Rebecca help the STARS Alpha team fight in Resident Evil 1 when she clearly has shown to be strong enough to defeat giant mutant leech queens? And 2, if Billy just goes away, what was the point of it being? The end.
I guess it's time to say goodbye.
Well, I guess this is goodbye. I'll never forget you. Billy.
And with that, this game gets the... You know what, actually... Jordan, I was expecting a very juxtaposed review from the both of us after you told me how much you hated this game.
I thought I hated it, but you know what? After replaying this game, I'm on the fence with it, just like you. I think it's... okay.
Oh yeah, I understand that, but the only reason I did this sodding collab with you was because I remember really liking this game, and you kept telling me how much you hated this game. That was the only joke, that was the point of this video, and you fucked it up.
Well, I'm sorry. I just feel like...
And just for that, you know, screw this rating bullshit. I'm afraid that you know the fate of every guest star I've ever had on my show, apart from the completionist and brutal moose. So, I'm afraid, Jordan, you have to die.
Oh. Do I?
Jordan? What's that you have there?
You'll see.
Ow! Ow! Jordan! You bumbling baboon! Jordan! You bastards! Jordan! Why?
What do you have to say for yourself now, Caddy?
You're an asshole casserole?
Wait a minute. I'm the first person to kill Caddy on his own show.
You're a penis wrinkle. Yes. You smell funny.
Die! Just die! Just die!
Halloween is over, so that can only mean one thing. It's time for a Bonfire Night special on my channel that has nothing to do with Bonfire Night. So what about this? It's a wireframe rabbit doing loop-de-loops around a never-ending white line until she turns into a frog because she jumped through a spiky line instead of rolling through it. And she sings. Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not a game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged. Now, this video has been a long time coming, so I won't stall for a second more. After this particular game was recently released on the PS Store for Americans, what better time to talk about it? I thought not. So let's sink our collective teeth into Vib Ribbon and see what the fuss is about.
Released in Japan in late 1999 and then in Europe in late 2000. Seriously, only Japan and Europe? What's up with that? Vib Ribbon was a unique, experimental and extremely innovative rhythm game developed by who had made Parappa the Rapper and Jamalami on the PS1 straight before this game's release. And out of that little trilogy of rhythmic delight, Vib Ribbon was always my favourite. Me and my sister played the demo of this countless times over, but due to the rarity of the game itself, I was never able to get my hands on a proper retail copy until a few years ago, when it popped up on eBay for a crazy cheap price.
And now, lo and behold, my children, for this is my gorgeous copy of Vib Ribbon that I—
Wait a second, there's some fucking dirt on it.
that I love so very dearly. I love it so much that I can barely control my breathing whenever I see it. I'm a pathetic twat of a man!
Either way, let's boot the game up and see what's in store for us.
I don't know what Japan has hiding up its sleeves right now. Am I dead?
I mean, Christ, how anybody would know what's going on with this game by this point is beyond me totally, so I think the best course of action is to look at the how to play menu. And that's also a good idea because we get a thorough going over with this game's plot.
Once upon a time in a faraway land, a young vector-graphic, angular female rabbit named Vibri was walking down this white line, and then this happened.
So after understanding the plot, the first thing you notice is how fucking bouncy and adorable this tutorial is. The music, Vibri's voice, it's not hard to get sucked in straight away. Which is a really good thing because—
What in the name of all authority is that? The deepest recesses of my mind can't possibly fathom the darkness of the mind that created this monstrosity.
Vibri then tells us that we can check the manual for more information about the game, which I suppose is a wise idea. PS1 games, after all, didn't have the space that we do nowadays, so relaying information elsewhere could prove to be quite effective.
I am swiftly regretting every life choice I have ever made.
Okay, I've got to admit, this is fucking awesome. Much like other games, the manual was actually equipped to be a large poster. Pretty fascinating. I mean, I seriously wouldn't hang this up in my office for fear of ripping it to shreds, but you know, it's still pretty cool. Anyway, from reading more into this, you can safely deduce that this is indeed a rhythm game. With Vibri constantly moving forward on this white line, there are 4 different obstacles you face which require 4 different button presses to pass over. Rolling through squiggles with the X button, flipping through loops with an R button, jumping over blocks with an L button, and stepping over pits with the down button. All in all, it sounds pretty easy, doesn't it? Well... well...
No, it isn't.
Because you then get thrown in with merged obstacles such as squiggly blocks, which then require the X and L button, or dipped loops, which require both the down and R button. And in faster stages, it can get overwhelming sometimes. On the disc itself, there are 6 songs to play through, which were all performed by a Japanese group called Laugh and Peace, and these songs are all split into groups of 2 based on their difficulty. So, what the hell? Let's take a look at every song this game has to offer and slightly review each stage individually in the most mediocre fashion imaginable. Yay. Before we do that though, a very cute inclusion to the game is the fact that Vib reads out every menu command as you highlight them. Now, as you'll notice from the main game screen, there are a lot of things everywhere. Things that are there to make the endless black void and white line a little bit more interesting. This down here is how far you are into the song that you're playing. The speed that Vib skips indicates the speed of the song. And this here is your score. I can't read it. Nobody can read it. Fuck this score. Also, if you hit enough consecutive correct beats without making a mistake, you eventually turn into Vib.
Awfully happy with that.
And you also get bonus points while in this mode until you make the next mistake. Anyway, Song 1 of the game is a great intro stage. It's slow and it's steady, and it uses a lot of creative and abstract audio samples, from pitch-altered fanfare snippets to various retro camera sound effects. Hence the title of the song, Polaroid. The melody and backing samples are catchy and well placed, and there's plenty of rubato in between each verse with the changing in tempos. The rhythm is simple and the obstacles remain slow and simple to avoid. And in the final quarter of the song, it even very gradually speeds the song up to show you that it isn't all that easy. Overall, a fantastic intro stage, and that speed up towards the end of the song is just a small taste for what is to come. On to Song 2 called Sunny Day, which has many more rubato tempo changes than before. The obstacles still remain simple despite the increased tempo changes, and where the song is still pretty catchy, it isn't my favourite track since the composition of the song isn't as creative as the other tracks we will be seeing. What I do like a lot is that you can actually freestyle in between each part that there's no obstacles, and when that happens, Vib can sometimes look horrific.
Somebody better call an exorcist!
So with that, the bronze easy course is over, and we get a reading of our final score. By the way, the congratulatory song that Vib sings to you when you hit the top 3 of the high scores is freaking adorable. What isn't so adorable though is that you can't actually pause the game, only quit or restart the whole song, which is bull. But Song 3, known as Laugh and Peace, brings us to the silver course at medium difficulty. Immediately we begin with different instrumentation and slowed down samples thrown into even crazier tempo changes, and this is definitely one of the more insane tracks on the game. I mean, just listen to how slow it goes sometimes. But for as slow as the song can get, it also introduces you to some of the most intense speeds in the game, and it even throws sliding, overlapping obstacles at you to keep you on your toes.
Now, I've really got to say, the way that every single track in this game has its own drastic tempo change is fantastic. I mean, it feels natural in all of the songs, and so it naturally reverberates back to you as the player. Like, you could easily tap your foot to any of these songs and any of the tempo changes without being thrown off, which is really impressive, not to mention great for experimenting with all these difficulty shifts, like with all of the overlapping obstacles and all that kind of stuff. It's good stuff.
Right, Song 4, Universal Dance. This is easily the most intense song so far, with driving accents on every single beat. It's also the most consistent song with tempo and speed, which is good in this case because now the game starts throwing crazy camera angles at you to trip you out. I mean, people could easily criticize the simplicity of this game's visual style, but for this kind of game, I would say it was more minimalistic. It makes it much easier to process what the fuck's going on the screen. Not to mention, I find them very charming as well. I mean, just imagine for a second having colorful and sickening spinning backgrounds while trying to get through these stages. It'd be fucking unplayable. But at least you can have your drug-induced trips for free. Not to mention, the game looks very distinctive as well. I can't think of any other game from this era that looked like this. It's very, very memorable. And you know what? If you can make a crudely drawn, vector graphic, angular-lined rabbit cute, I think you've done a really good job. Anyway, Universal Dance, I'm sorry. This track is my least favorite. It's not as varied or interesting as the rest in both the song itself and the stage. I mean, just look at this bit. This is challenging. Not really. Although, since we're in the harder difficulties now, you will experience a few mistakes. Whenever you mess up in this game, Vib screams in immeasurable pain.
just feel bad now.
The screen then glitches up to make things more intense and harder for you, and then even more mistakes on top of that turns you into different creatures, each with their own special animations. You turn into a frog and then into a worm. That's pretty cool. To get back to normal, it's pretty simple. Just keep doing well without making any mistakes and you'll eventually climb up back to health. Oh yes, and if you come second or first in the high scores, Vibri adds in another congratulatory line within the final score song. Yeah, we've heard the rest, you get the idea. Now, on to the hardest difficulty, the golden course. Here we have Song 5, also known as Overflowing Emotions, which is rather appropriate because I get overflowing emotions from this track. It's easily my favy. It starts off with a pretty simple but cool riff and then turns into the most instrumentally complex track in the game, with tons of jumps between multiple genres and tempos and an ingeniously insane chorus. It's like an entire song change every time I hear that chorus, but it fits so damn well. Also, it features some very creative sampling and creative drum patterns. I love this track. Just listen to the fucking chorus. It's fucking insane. Hard mode is also the best difficulty because of how experimental the waves of obstacles get. There's the pre-mentioned overlapping obstacles, many tempo changes, more crazy camera angles, and more offbeat obstacles, and it's easily the most fun to play through. And you know what else is fun? Trying to interpret the slightly broken English in these Japanese songs. Now, for the most part, these guys do a good job of sounding English in some songs, you know, being Japanese and everything, but because I'm incredibly immature, I have my own little interpretations for some of the lines in the songs because I seriously can't understand them sometimes. Enjoy them, everybody. I apologize. Song 6, also known as Roll Along, combines everything gameplay-wise it can throw at you, and the song itself is pretty damn catchy to boot. It's the rockiest track of the lot, including a harmonica solo, and even a crescendo in the form of a xylophone cadence. Also, if you haven't been practicing up to this point, you will get a game over. But as far as the game over screens themselves go, they're pretty cool. Some are freaking adorable, and some are downright terrifying. The one I really hate though is when Vibri cries. It's too cute and it's too sad.
Oh no! Oh no, Vibri! No, Vibri, it's okay. Please, it's okay, Vibri. Don't cry, don't cry. Look, here. Have a tissue. So, it would appear that I've beaten the game. Or have I? The game didn't seem as innovative as I said earlier, right? Well, this is when you find out that due to this complicated process involving the disc loading something onto the PlayStation 1 RAM, you can actually play any CD in the world that you want in the game, and it will generate its own obstacles and everything to the rhythm and everything of the song. And no, it's not randomly generated. If you pick the same song off the same CD every single time, it gives you the same course. The possibilities of this game are literally endless.
Now, I would show you a few CDs that I experimented with, but because of the fucking copyright laws, I can't actually play you any of this stuff and that I caught, so I guess you'll just have to use your imagination, because that, at the end of the day, is the human mind's strongest tool, and it will help you overcome anything life throws at you. So in that sense, copyright doesn't really bother me that much. I mean, why would it when you think about it? Funnily enough though, you'd think that something a bit on the heavy side would actually give you more difficult results in the game, but surprisingly enough, from what I tried personally, the game generally reacts more to the bouncy tunes of pop music in order to increase your difficulty. Although everyone saw what happened ages ago when I tried playing Jake the Peg, so I guess that goes to show you how unpredictable this game can get.
Overall, this game it holds a very special place in my heart. And for an added bonus, you can even take this game's disc, put it into any PC or any CD player, and rip and listen to the whole game's soundtrack, official soundtrack as well, which is actually a trick you can find in a lot of other PS1 games. And even for the use any CD feature of this game alone, I can't give this game anything other than the salvage. However, I feel as though times really do have to change. Before I do that, you know, every single time I've made a Bonfire Night video, it's had nothing to do with Bonfire Night, but no more! No! This is gonna change, okay? I'm gonna make this video related to Bonfire Night in some way or another. So do you know what I've done? I've ripped my own little track that I made onto a CD, and now I'm going to play it on the game for everybody at home. Happy freaking birthday. Stay beautiful, everybody. Right, okay, I just put the CD in. So it should be the last track. I'm pretty sure it is. Okay, it's track 12. I think it is anyway. Okay, let's give this a go, everyone.
I think I got everyone there. That was a good one. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay. Okay, let's do this, everyone. Okay, ominous music, please. We need some ominous music. Ah, there it is. Okay, okay. Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. I'm seeing beetles again. That's not good. Okay. No matter. Just breathe. Deep breaths. No, don't give in to them. Just keep on walking. Am I dreaming? No. No, I'm not. I'm seeing beetles. Fuck! I thought I got past this. Those pills didn't make me better, they made me worse. Why? Why? Okay, that is the last time I ever listened to that guy back there on the bridge that looked like Cliff Richard's corpse doing a spot of fishing.
You fucking what?
Okay, look. Okay, I'm nearly home. Okay, just focus, and if I rush back, I'll then be free from this tyranny. This game will be a weird one, everyone. So you best put harnesses on your eyes, because I'm about to fucking blast them to Saturn. Hey there everybody, I'm Peanut Butter Gamer, and recently... Modern games, retro games, what's the difference? I'm here to review games. I've not seen such bravery. Hey guys, what's up? It's Jimmy, and today... Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not a game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged. This bloody game. The game we'll be taking a look at today, esteemed viewers, is called LSD Dream Emulator. If you couldn't guess, this is a PS1 exclusive title that has never been released outside of Japan, which almost makes me feel like the video game world in Japan has this insane asylum of weirdness and eccentricity, and where some patients like Vib Ribbon eventually get released back into the world, others are simply never meant to see the sun. And this game is one of those patients. The game itself was entirely based around a dream journal that was updated for 10 years by a woman named Hiroko Nishikawa, a member of Asmic Ace Entertainment, who published this game in October 1998. The developers themselves have outright stated the whole point of this game is to solely confuse and disorient the player. And that's literally it. That is the entire point. And I guess a few of you knew this already, because the amount of requests I've had for this game are insane. So for making me do this, you're all sick.
Now, since this is a Japanese-only game, and it's pretty rare, and obviously I can't play it on any PAL PS1 system, and the prices of the game are indeed... What? I'm afraid that for the first time ever, I will have to emulate the game for you all today. LSD Dream Emulator. On an emulator. Emulatorception.
Either way, I'm not quite sure what to make of this elusive anomaly of a game. I mean, it did make it to the Japanese PS Store as a PS1 classic, so if it's considered a PS1 classic, I guess it can't be that bad, right?
Oh, wait.
Actually, you know what I'll do? Maybe I'll check a screenshot of the game before I play it to prepare myself beforehand.
This game looks hideous. I don't want to play it. Don't make me play it, please.
Ugh. I guess I'll have to, though, won't I?
Well, you know what they say. Life is like a sweet corn poo. You know, it may be mostly shit, but there's still a little bit of sweetness in there to keep it going.
Anyway, we begin with an FMV sequence, and the plot of the game is that there is no plot. You know, aside from Link having to travel the land and rescue every epileptic member of my audience who has been sent to the hospital from these fucking visuals. It's trippy, yes, but I'm actually pretty excited for what I'll be in for, honestly. Okay, we're on day 1, apparently. That's a good place to start, so let's begin here. Right, just getting a grip of the controls. It's first person, so we have a look up and look down button, and some look behind buttons. Okay, everything checks out. Okay, maybe not. For no reason at all, I'm now in this weird town, and there's a foot statue. I guess this here is the mayor of the town. He looks pretty horrifying, so I better get going before I come across him. Oh, you guys okay? You just floating on by with walking sounds? I guess you guys must have been banished here from the footmare because of your lack of feet. Jesus, is there any way to speed up in this game? Your character walks so damn slowly that I think I might actually have a real dream after falling asleep from the speed he's walking at. You know what I mean? Give me 5. Oh god, more statues. Maybe if I touched one. Oh, here we go. I'm at a bar now. Lovely noises in the back there, so I suppose I'll go into the house and mooch around. Just gotta get to the end of this corridor here, and oh my god, it's a dead body. I think it's time for me to leave now. Breathing. What? Where? Help! Somebody! Anybody! I'm not checking that fucking bed, but I kind of think I have to. Oh, here goes nothing.
Not cool, not cool, not cool, not cool!
Well, I didn't see that coming. It's a bright green area full of world landmarks. It's kind of like Legoland, except scary. I guess I should touch the Elizabeth Tower? Oh, I'm back here again. Maybe the bar is a better option to touch this time. Okay, where the hell am I now? I'm starting to get freaked out now because someone is taking steps near me. Where is it coming from? Where? Ah! Oh, don't worry, it's a tree. Ah, there it was. It's a lion. Great. Fuck it, I'm going for it. No guts, no glory. Go! Well, that was interesting.
Was that it?
Okay, back in the house again. There's nothing here on the roof. So how about down here? Nope, nothing. How strange. Oh, look, a library. Let's check that out and see what we can find. Sweet honking horse bandits! The bird teleported me to another hideous bright green land. I better go and see what the deal is with this place. Oh, in inflatable elephant.
Chase them away, I'm afraid, need your aid, pink elephants on parade!
Okay, by this point, I think I figured out that you can pretty much touch anything in these dream worlds to link you to other places. But that's it. I'm really sorry, but this gameplay sucks. It makes zero sense, and there's no meaning with what you touch, where it takes you, how crazy the landscape will look, anything. I know this is based around exploration, but there's no rules to this game. I mean, seriously, when you arrive somewhere and you have a clear destination in mind, you can even accidentally walk into a wall, a fucking wall, and be taken somewhere random. And sometimes the game takes you to places like, oh, fuck. Okay, I mean, if the game is supposed to be confusing, consider me confused, because I have no idea what's going on. Even in the first 10 minutes of playtime, I can safely say that this is one of the trippiest fucking games I have ever played, so at least it succeeds in that regard. I see a question mark over there. Perhaps I should go and touch it and see what happens. Ah! Adult! I need an adult! Get away from me! Come on, touch the question mark! Touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it! Oh, phew. At least that nightmare was over. I can relax now. Ah! Another adult! Two adults! I need 2 adults right now! Okay, I'm gonna try running into this forest tunnel. Perhaps I'll be much safer in here. No, I'm not. I'm still being chased by Satan's hellspawn. Touch anything, touch something, get me out of here, now! Oh. I fell.
I feel as though a break is in order. I'm already mentally exhausted after 3 days of this. For 3 days of the game. I'm gonna just save the game and come back to it tomorrow. Okay. Just enter my name. What's my name? I don't even know anymore.
Ah, lovely house. Let's just go upstairs. Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm back at the whole place again. I suppose I'll try the tunnel again and make sure it takes me to the forest from earlier. And just as things were getting interesting, the dream ended. I didn't even touch anything. Don't ask me, this game makes no goddamn sense. Okay, this game is really starting to take its toll on me. Okay, in a desert, and there's a star having a fit up there. Oh, and by the way, every time you take a step in this game, you hear a footstep noise. And I don't mean a subtle step noise or a well-placed step noise for immersion. I mean a step noise that drowns out every other sound, and it's completely fucking grating. It even reacts to other flaws in the game, and it never stops being annoying. And when you combine that with the nauseating effect of the camera bobbing up and down as you climb stairs, you're in for a real treat. I know this is trying to be immersive and like emulate real life movement and everything, but seriously, who climbs stairs like this? Looky, floating camels and people. Wait, don't go. No, you naughty camels. Come back here. I'm gonna get you. Oh, now, more running through this pretty barren wasteland to find something to touch. Nothing? Okay, let's go inside this hidey hole then. Wow, I don't think I've ever been here before. Let's take a look around. Okay, what? Seriously? One step and I get teleported? Fine. Oh, fantastic. I'm back at the strange town. And look, the fitting star from earlier is back. But now it's an angry fitting star. Oh, Jesus, I'm still completely lost in this game. Can someone please give me a hand? Okay, I touched a rock, and now I'm in this city street with seizure-inducing water. Jeez, I feel ill. And just like that, I fell down a hole again. I seem to be in the town again, but there isn't much going on though. I accidentally ran into a wall again, and so here I am outside a toilet where it sounds like someone in there isn't having the easiest time right now. So I touch the toilet and I get teleported to this place. Take one step and fuck, this is ridiculous! How can I explore when everything teleports you? Ah well, at least I can say that this game's soundtrack is fantastic. It conveys dreams pretty damn perfectly and is one of the trippiest soundtracks you'll ever hear. And the visuals aren't too bad themselves either. I mean, don't get me wrong, the draw distance is awful, the game can sometimes look really ugly, and the experience it's trying to go for is slightly hindered by these primitive 3D graphics, but at least what they do with the limitations is interesting, to say the least. You won't see any other game like this, I can tell you. Anyway, I found a hill with... wait, is that a window? It is! A window! A window to where, though? Here! Oh, I'm starting to feel extremely unsettled here. I mean, there's floating cubes and what is actually going on? Looks like an average day in the Bronx to me. Okay, let's just get out of here. I'm back in the city and who the fuck are you? Wait, man, wait, no, don't come any closer. Back off! Oh my god, this is getting intense. Red lady, hey, can you help me? Please? Can I touch you? Oh, I see how it is. Fuck you then. Next area, and finally, signposts, direction. Thank Christ. What is that though? Maybe I should follow the arrow and find out. Something tells me I won't be disappointed. Well, hey, I found some crystals. That's pretty cool, I guess. So I touch it and it took me back here. I wonder what I'll see this time.
Children, your minds are too precious and innocent to bestow them on this. Please, avert thine eyes, children, be gone!
I'm starting to lose my shit now. Just get me out of here. Where will this take me? Oh, a long bridge. Pretty ominous. I wonder what could be on the other end of it. Is this the real life? And we're back to the city again. Look, it's a signpost. I bet that's what the devs were on when they made this fucking game. I'm looking around because something is chasing me. I don't know what it is, but something is coming to get me. The bullet holes in the cars tell me that it's something hostile and I'm pretty freaked out right now, but I just can't see it. And what is with that noise it's making? Oh, Jesus, I need to get out of here. Oh man, do I dare touch this graffiti? Yep, I dare. Well, welcome to this room. I guess I can only touch that in the middle of it. Back in the city again. Look, I get that this is a dream emulator and everything, and I get that it's a slow-moving exploration game, but I think it's actually too slow. Because of the lack of any kind of rules, half the time, dreams will lead to absolutely nowhere, and you can't learn how to make them more interesting. As far as I can see, you just get lucky with everything you fucking touch. And the fact that you have a 10-minute time limit before the next day happens sucks as well, because you may not see anything at all until the next day. The worlds that you encounter, where looking kind of creative, are way too big, and some are just too vast and incredibly empty, making it feel like it takes hours to actually get anywhere. For as accurate as this may be to the guy's dreams that this game is based off of, I'm afraid that half of these dreams are just not at all fun to explore. You just need to hope something happens half the time, which gets old really quickly. And where you do come across some freaky shit, I never felt like it was enough of a reward for finding. Either way, I'm now in a never-ending hallway. This is freaky. And I think I can see something at the end of it. Oh, what's that? Whoa, what the fuck is going on? Whoa, I want to do that again. Okay, change of plans. I'm in the sky now. I wonder where I'll be now. Ugh, back at the boring ass hills again. Well, when I say boring, I mean, what the hell is up with this water? I feel so ill right now. Back at the town, feeling more ill. I still don't know what I'm fucking doing. I want to see something interesting, damn it. Hole, town, hills, ugh. Something happened, please. I've touched different things everywhere and nothing is working. Oh, actually, okay, that's pretty interesting. Well, maybe not interesting, but yep, I'm scared. In the house again, but I haven't looked outside yet, so let's see what I can find. Nothing down here, but what about the other side? What? No, actually, what is that? Do I want to touch it? Oh, God! That is one of the most horrifying things I have ever seen. It's a face with arms and legs. Hey, oh no, you don't come back here. Take me to my doom. Oh my God, I'm back at the hole. I'm starting to lose my patience with this. I mean, it's a shame, really. Because of the limitations of the PS1, it actually holds this game back from feeling like a proper experience. I get the impression that I'd feel more of an impact from this game if it looked better and played nicer. And I'm not just saying graphics are everything, because the PS1 is my favorite console ever. But in this kind of game, one solely driven on giving an experience on nothing more than exploration and touching things, I'm sorry, it needs more than this. You just walk around a boring box half of the time until you touch something and repeat the same process over and over again. Discovering things, from what I can gather, is basically built on nothing but luck, and interactivity with these sometimes creative areas is non-existent other than touching more things to go somewhere else. You do see some weird shit, that's for sure, but that's kind of it. And for me, things like that happened rarely, so what else can I get out of this game exactly? Oh god, not you again. Ugh. You're creepy. This is an interesting place. Star or moon? Let's touch the star. Wish me luck, everyone. Oh lord, are you serious? Just get me out of here now. Hey, we're at the city again. Whoa, roadkill time! Well, that's something that happened. More walking, nothing happened, and time eventually ran out for me. Seriously, this is the weirdest game I have ever played in my whole bloomin' life. I have gone through Mr. Domino, Putty Squad, Santa Claus Saves the Earth, Coronation Street, Dalmatians 3, heck, even the Zoo Race, and this game trounces the weirdness factor on all of them combined.
Should I even bother with day 10? Well, 10 is a more complete number than 9, I suppose. Yeah, what the hell. Let's just hope that something interesting pops up this time. Come on. Day 10. What is that? What the fuck even is this? I know there are tons of people on the internet that think this game is the dog's bollocks, but honestly, I can't fucking see it. I mean, if this game is supposed to be an anti-LSD drug campaign game, then congratulations, it rocks as an anti-LSD campaign because it's terrified me enough to never think of LSD ever again. But if the title just is coincidental and it has no relation to the drug whatsoever, then what was the point of any of that? I mean, if the game is built around the idea of dreams and their weirdness and their randomness or whatever, you know what, that's good, I suppose, but some context, some direction, some point would be lovely. Even if you're really into those really slow, explorative games like Yume Nikki, for instance, I don't even think there's that much here that's worth your time. I mean, it's just not engaging and it's not that much fun. And the system limitations of the PS1, God bless its heart, just don't allow it to feel like the proper experience it wants to convey. Well, you know, minus a few very serious moments, which were undoubtedly really fucking disturbing, but in my opinion, not worth all the aggravation to find them. So, with all due respect, I'm really sorry, guys. In my opinion, this game gets the slaughter. I shot the wrong thing. Oh my god, it's Christmas! 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 Oh wait, no it's not. Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people. Christmas is nearly here. Kinda. Sort of. I guess. And because of this fantastic holiday spirit, what better time for me to present to all of you my personal top 10 favourite snow levels in all of video gaming. Now this isn't really a Christmas themed list per se, and more just a Christmassy, snowy themed list, which is a really good thing because when it comes to the UK, we really fucking deliver when it comes to snow. Either way, one game per franchise, and if the level has snow or ice or anything like that in it, it can qualify. Oh, and just a heads up, you better wrap yourselves up for this video because it's gonna get a little bit chilly. Oh, speaking of cold, oh, okay, sorry. Oh. My beard has been trimmed very slightly. I didn't see that coming.
So, let's kick this list off with a proper kick. There we go. Number 10 on my list goes to Ice Paradise from Sonic Advance 2. The Game Boy Advance was the first Nintendo console I ever owned myself and properly grew up with, and Sonic Advance 2 was the first Sonic game I actually ever played because of that. At the time, and to this day, I love it. That game fucking rocks my jingle bells.
Christmas ducks.
The visuals, music, level design, absurd speeds making the platforming hard but fair except for this bloody stage all make this game a roaring good time to play. So good that I actually beat the final boss of this game while taking a shit one day. Gotta go fast indeed. Anyway, Ice Paradise is extremely memorable to me. It had solid platforming, not too heavy of a reliance on ice physics, and I always loved the detail in the background to make it feel more than just a blue and white icy level. The boss battle was pretty fun also, and the music always gets stuck in my head whenever I hear it. I may not be the biggest Sonic fan at all, but dang, I love this level, and this game. Number 9 goes to any stage in the Katamari series in which you have to build a snowman.
Do you wanna build a snowman?
No! I have to! Otherwise my dad will try to kill me! Seriously, look at him! I wish I could have fun, but look at him! Think next time before you knock, you insensitive bitch!
I'm gonna stick with the Katamari Forever stage though, simply because it's the same stage as all the previous games, but in HD. If you've played the Katamari games, you'd understand that you have to roll stuff up to clean up after your idiot parents that just so happen to own the universe. I adore these games more than I can properly tell you right now, but that's for another video, so instead, let's talk about snow. The levels in which you literally have to roll up snow, and of course, people, trees, and buildings, I've always had a soft spot for, because they're easily the most relaxed stages in a Katamari game. Get the right piece of J-pop music on, and then rolling through the bizarre cardboardy towns with cozy warm colours striking against the cold and harsh snowy colours becomes extremely therapeutic. It also plays on my inner childhood dream of wanting to roll up a snowball as big as a radio tower, so it's all good in my books. I think I'll have to give number 8 to Frostbite Village from Spyro: A Hero's Tale. Loads of people didn't like this game. Look at this fucking village though. This is easily one of the best looking snow levels on this list, and it really helps it stay on the list with how fucking fun it is to explore and play through.
Hello there. You must be Spyro.
Great minigames, great design, superb visuals, and the bouncy control all contribute to make this one of the best parts of the entire game, and the sheer amount of detail here I always found to be wondrous. It doesn't look just like a village covered in snow, it's a village within the snow, almost otherworldly. And I also love how your fiery breath stands out magnificently amongst the misty air, illuminating the cool yet saturated colours for a brief moment before fading back into the cold yet again. I like this level a lot. It has snow in it. Number 7 goes to Cool Cool Mountain. No! No, it doesn't. It goes to Snowman's Land. Cool Cool Mountain. More like Fool Mountain. Because you'd have to be a fool to put it in. I feel like I'm one of the only people to ever say this, but I always preferred Snowman's Land over Cool Cool Mountain in Mario 64. Am I alone on that? I hope not. Whenever someone even says the words snow level, 9 times out of 10, Cool Cool Mountain gets mentioned, and as far as I'm concerned, it's completely oversaturated, especially when I find Snowman's Land to be a simply more interesting level. The colors are more vibrant, the level design is more explorative, the different star challenges are much more varied and fun to solve, and not to mention, it's the only time in the whole game when crawling is 100% necessary. And then you find a huge igloo inside a tiny igloo that looks like it's straight up from Doctor Who. Basically, I just find Snowman's Land the more memorable level. Not to say that the mountain is bad in any way, far from it, it's a great level, but Snowman's Land was just a little bit more exciting for me. And it's snowing. Because it's a snow level.
Ding dong, Silent Hill is here. The deathly screams are ringing. Dogs will bite you off the rear. The wheelchair wheels are spinning.
Enough! We can have no more happiness. Simba. What? Oh, yeah, why? I see. You thought that the snow levels list would be full of happy, bouncy Emperor's New Fucking Groove snow levels? No. I want to make you unload all of your bowels into your trousers. I can't not put Silent Hill's intro sequence on this list. It scarred me so much as a kid that it made me petrified of snow for a long time afterwards. Granted, it focuses more on the fog aspect than snow, but look, It's snow. Shut up. Like any great horror game, the presentation of this intro strikes fear on all accounts through the audio and the visuals, and it's one of the few snow levels that literally makes your room feel colder by the sheer sight of how helpless and harsh this whole area is. From the second you begin controlling Harry Mason, the snow starts falling, and that is when you know shit is going down. How does something as joyful as a flurry of snow make you feel like that? I don't know, but Silent Hill found a way. I could go on about this intro all day, but there's no point. It may not be a level exactly, but the original Silent Hill definitely deserves mention for its sheer impact and imprinting on my mind, as well as portraying the more dangerous and hopeless side to snow that a lot of games don't seem to cover. More like silent chill, you know what I mean? Merci everyone, au revoir. Hell yeah, Tomby 2! Not Tomba 2! Tomba sounds bloody stupid. This game, as a sequel, does a lot of things incredibly well, and it's one of the more solid sequels you will ever play in your life. Not necessarily better than the first in my opinion, but pretty damn close. And one of the ways it did things differently, but surprisingly solidly, was the risky choice of having the gameplay out entirely in a 3D polygonal world, as opposed to 2D sprites amongst 3D backgrounds. It was a lot more ambitious than the first, for sure, but this risk, if you ask me, was seriously worth it, because even today, the game looks incredible and really holds up. And when I was younger, my excitement peaked and my wonder flourished when I entered the Kujara Ranch area for the first time. Seeing Tomby shiver and then freeze up was an adorable design choice, and one that always stuck out to me. And when you have the gear to finally explore around, you'd find a truly brilliant midsection to the game with many hidey holes, extremely fun side quests, side areas with challenging missions, a secret slide, hidden cliff sides accessible from climbing to the peak of the pole, bird nests, and of course, the excellent soundtrack that got rammed into my head for hours after turning the game off. Combining that with the oh-so-satisfying crunch of your feet clambering through the snow, and you truly have a charismatic snow level with more than one surprise up its sleeve, despite how kind of small it is. But you think it's all over, but then you find the second part of the ranch area, the ranch summit, where it's still snowy, but the enemies are more aggressive, the hidden areas are crazier, the jumps are more perilous, the music gets slightly more eerie, and it's the perfect, ominous, and foreshadowing cherry on the cake to the lovely snowy village you just comfortably explored only a second ago. Also, there is Santa. He has a super flying scooter. Fucking Santa. This game is great, and this level is great. Go Tomby. Tomba. Tomby! Number 4 is literally indescribable. Like, seriously, I can't even describe it. If ever you should play Animal Crossing New Leaf during January and February, and if you're lucky enough to catch some precipitation, it will be snow. And whenever it starts slowly falling, pairing that with the utterly immersive and incredible soundtrack of this game literally makes me feel warm and tingly inside, like a child that sees snow for the very first time. It's almost like a nostalgic feeling, even though this is actually the first and only Animal Crossing game I've ever played, but it just makes me feel like it's taking me back to my past, where I've seen something that I haven't actually seen. Like I said, it's indescribable. Whenever the sky goes deep grey and snow starts to slowly fall in New Leaf, and you see it gracefully and slowly envelop your perfect little town, it's truly magical. I'm not even joking. I'm crying. Oh my good god, Crash Bandicoot, you horny little trollop. I thought that hog was good enough for your cravings, but no, your hunger for animal booty knows no limits. Crash 2 is awesome. It also has a few snow levels. My favorite snow level though is Bear It, otherwise known as Stage 8, purely because when I first played the demo for this game, this was the only stage I could actually try. And boy, did I try it, over and over again. This level has fucking everything. Snow, ice, icy water, statues, seals, whales, death animations involving pants, super fast baby polar bears. This is easily the most hyperactive and batshit insane level on this list so far. Okay, it may not be as fast as Ice Paradise, but the music is better, the environment is cooler, and the control and box breaking is just so much more goddamn satisfying. From the second you mount the baby polar bear, the snow starts dropping, and then you're plonked into one of the most fun and thrilling levels in the entire game. And not only does it work great as a starter level for those not familiar with Crash's riding habits, but it also provides a great challenge for those trying to grab the gem, or for those just trying to go as fast as possible. The weight and control of the polar bear is also damn drop dead perfect, and matching that up with the excellent music makes this entire experience worth every penny that you put into the game. Okay, it isn't the longest stage in the world by any means, and it feels like you find yourself being flung to the exit only a few moments after starting the level, but surely that's a good sign of how entertaining it is, right? Making time fly by? It doesn't matter either way, I find myself replaying this level constantly, and it was a great demo disc inclusion, I must say. Let's get real here. Number 2 goes to fucking Shovel Knight, and the level known as Stranded Ship. There's more ice in this stage than snow, to be fair, but it's far too fucking awesome not to include it. This is one of the few instances where ice physics in a level seriously just didn't bother me, because they weren't over the top, and it didn't exploit those physics as the only new obstacle the stage has to offer, since there are obviously the new enemies, new platforming challenges to earn treasure, and perfect amounts of new difficulty increments to remind you that you are at the halfway point of your epic quest. Also, what the fuck is that thing? I don't know, but it's awesome. It throws up rainbows you can run across. I mean, not to mention, you can also acquire the war horn in this stage. Undoubtedly, for me, the most useful and incredibly satisfying item to use in the whole game. The music is fucking brilliant, and those backgrounds and sprites, my goodness. On 3DS especially, not one single detail gets left behind in every layer of this gorgeously colored icy plain. And let's not forget that it isn't just the outdoors being focused on. It does have a stranded ship, so the ice makes its way into the creepy, rickety wooden decks and deathly spiked floors as well. And to top it all off, you get a pretty badass boss battle at the very end of the stage from a character that used to be friends with you. One might say that it's the icing on the cake. Okay, I have to admit, number 1 was basically already decided by me the very second I started writing this script. It's kind of a bit of a cheat, I suppose, but basically whenever you see any kind of snowy portion of the game in Uncharted 2, it does not fuck around. The main game itself is mostly flashbacks, but whenever you come back to the present day where you see where Nate ends up by the last part of his epic journey, you are literally on the edge of your seat for every part of it. No joke, the Uncharted 2 hanging train trailer itself is one of the single greatest trailers I have ever seen, and the fact that you find out it actually acts as the intro for the game just blew my mind when I first played it. I was intrigued, confused, disorientated, invested, fighting for my life, scared shitless of the rusty train falling to pieces as I climbed it, and most of all, I could feel the icy breeze here more than any other snow level on this list. After you climb the train, you're then simply let loose to explore, bleeding and exhausted, and then later on you get attacked by mercenaries in the distance with no clear vision, no epic arsenal, and poor little Nate freezing up with each passing second. Silent Hill may have explored the mystery and danger of snow, but Uncharted 2 explored the worst case scenario of too much snow, and it made snow the worst fucking natural occurrence you could ever find yourself stuck in. Let's be honest, if the intro scene and every other occurring snow scene in the game was simply set on a jungle cliffside, for instance, it simply would not have been as effective. I mean, tell me that isn't terrifying. You can't see how high that is, what's in the distance, what's below you, or hell, what's even above you. It makes you feel more helpless and alone, scared of the unknown, and feeling completely lost and afraid in this endless void of ice, snow, and harsh mountain mist. I'll never forget these parts of the game, ever. Hell, I'll never forget Uncharted 2. And just look at that cover for the game. You want to buy it right now, don't you? It's lovely, isn't it? Wait a second. Snow? But Crash 2. But Crash 2 has snow in the background of the game box. Wait. Uncharted 1's box is in the jungle, and so is Crash 1. Oh god, this is freaky. Okay, Crash 3's box is set in an Egyptian desert, so could it be that Uncharted 3 is set in a desert? My god, this can't be a coincidence. Naughty Dog, you clever, naughty doggy bastards. Wait a second, let's think about this instead. Crash had 3 games before becoming a kart racer, all developed by Naughty Dog, and Jak and Daxter had 3 games before becoming a kart racer, all developed by Naughty Dog. So does that mean that Uncharted 4... Yep, it's uncarted, isn't it? I cracked the case. There is a god, everyone. I've confirmed it. Thank you very much. And there you have it, everyone. My top 10 personal favorite snow levels in video games. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please, as always, leave your thoughts in the comment section, because I had to cut a lot of snow levels out. So I want to hear all of your opinions on your favorite snow levels. And so please, let's have just a moment of silence for my personal favorite snow levels that couldn't make the cut for this list. My apologies. Go to Ape Escape 3, Tearaway, Tomb Raider, MGS 1, Sly Cooper 4, Gex 3, and Twilight Princess, amongst many others. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. If it is Christmas while you're watching this video today, then Merry frickin' Christmas to you, or any other holidays that you celebrate. So happy frickin' holidays to you if you're watching it in a holiday, and please remember to stay beautiful, I guess.